Alrighty, people, what is happening? Welcome in. It's another great day to do something great, and that's what we're hoping to accomplish here together. We appreciate you being here with us. We've got a great stream for you. We just released the rebranding yesterday. There's been a lot of positive feedback, and there's been some constructive feedback, which is helpful. I actually really appreciate it. And full transparency, Badaki and I aren't going to tell you exactly where we stand on the topic, but we want to hear from you guys. All right, so before we even get into anything, we just want to hear your opinions. Doesn't matter what your answer is, we just want to get a general consensus here. And the question is the corner top right logo. All right, you see it's over there right above Badaki's head. Yesterday we did the stream and there was a couple comments that said it's very distracting, and they're basically saying it's too distracting. Like you need to change it in some way, right? So we want to hear from you guys. Do you feel like the top right corner logo is too distracting? Do you think it should not loop as much? Basically what I want you to comment is yes, it is distracting, or no, it's not distracting. There is no wrong answer, by the way. Just want to get a general consensus, because if it is distracting, we both really want it to serve its purpose, which is just to look cool, to keep you engaged. So yeah,
that's actually a good feedback. Missing the orange football.
Let's see.
We should change the football to orange, which is nice.
Yeah, that's fair, actually. Let's see. So JCM says the only feedback you will need is that Cam Ward is the greatest prospect since Joe Burrow. What's up, Billy? Welcome in. All right, so for the most part, people are saying, no, I like it. No, love the rebrand. No, not distracting. No, love the rebrand. I like it. Let's see. No, it's cool. Miss the orange football. WG says, if anything, make it slightly smaller. We can definitely do that, actually. We can make it smaller. WG says, yes, it is too distracting. Evie says, I didn't notice until you pointed out, and now I can't look away. Okay. If people think it's distracting, they're not succeeding in life. Kyle, I mean, it's okay to have a different opinion. Sizzle says, I like it. Okay, so people are saying maybe just a hair smaller. Let's give that a go. Let's try that for today. I'd rather bring it up with you guys than, not say anything and then we have it for like 3 years and it's like distracting literally everybody. So let's make that bad boy a little bit smaller. Let's come over here and let's make that bad boy a little bit smaller as well.
Ooh, that was clean, that transition though.
Yeah, I love the transitions, honestly. I'm kind of a sucker for the transitions, not gonna lie. In fact,
obviously,
yeah.
Just to give you you guys background of the rebrand. Obviously we have 2 channels, Dynasty Land, Fantasy Land. Obviously we felt like we go live both. So instead of having 2 different logos, there's no point. Let's create one logo, Land. We still be called Dynasty Land, Fantasy Land. Yeah. It's just cleaner. It could just be cohesive all together. It would just be nice,
Yeah. No, I love the transition, honestly. I think the transition is like my favorite part of what we did. I just think that looks so clean. Anyway. All right. Yeah. So appreciate you, contributing to the feedback. And in case it needs to be noted, I felt like it was a little distracting. Badaki didn't. So you guys all agreed with Badaki, so he's feeling good right now. But that's fine. As long as everyone's happy, then that works for me. But we appreciate y'all for being here. Mel Kiper just dropped one hell of a mock draft. Did you see that?
I haven't actually looked at it. I've been seeing all over Twitter and people going crazy about it. I actually haven't looked at the only thing I know is that Luther Burden's not in the first. Other than that, I don't know anywhere else of all these other landing spots.
Yeah, Luther isn't in the first. I'll just quickly show you some highlights before we get into this startup draft. We will do a startup mock draft, by the way, guys, so hang in with us. But I just want to quickly highlight this. And I think what we'll do is for tomorrow's rookie draft, we've been talking to Sammy Stacks. I think I want to have him kind of emulate some of this and see what it would look like for fantasy football. But he had Cam Ward to the Browns at 2. He had Hunter to the Giants at 3. Then he had Genty to the Raiders at 6 overall. Sanders fell all the way to the Jets. Warren went to the Saints. Then he had at 12, this was probably the biggest surprise for people, is that Amarion Hampton went 12th overall.
Wow.
Which I loved it, Badaki, because what have I been saying like the last 2 months? There's been 2 running backs that people are trying to discredit. It's Hampton, it's Caleb Johnson. For whatever reason, those 2 running backs, all of Twitter is trying to discredit them. So I was loving seeing him putting them at 12. I don't know that that's realistic, but I love to see it. And then what else did he have? The other things that were crazy, he had Loveland before any wide receiver, right? So Loveland and Warren before any wide receiver. You can see that there at 20. Then he had Egbuka first off the board, McMillan second off the board. I don't know that this is absolutely insane. We've talked about how much we like Egbuka. We haven't talked about his ceiling outcome, though. Like, I think Egbuka is, I've said this before, the safest wide receiver in the class, and you can kind of see, like, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if this was the outcome, but I don't think Tet's going to fall that far. But Tet went to the Chargers. What else did we have? Do we have anything else crazy? I mean, that was really it from the offense. So, yeah, it was.
I mean, it's
surprising,
it kind of makes sense,
to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it was surprising. You're saying it makes sense, but to me, it was very surprising.
When I say this makes sense, is like, remember yesterday I was like, I've been hearing a lot of reports that Tet is going to be folding outside the top 10, top 15.
Right.
And the fact that Mel Kiper brings out one that Tet's falling down to the Chargers is pretty exciting. What have I been saying early in the offseason about the Cowboys? If Ashton's not there, do they go out and reach, not technically reach, but go out and get the second best running back in this class because they know they can't get one in the second round that they truly love? Remember how we had that, I don't know if you remember, but we had a conversation about, do they just go and get Caleb, Amarion, somebody they really love as well, instead of waiting? Because that's what they did the past 2 years, essentially.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to showcase this. I think we'll probably have Sammy reiterate like the first round and then build from that on tomorrow's rookie mock draft. But I just thought that was really interesting. But we appreciate everybody being here with us. Hey, thanks for joining the stream. Do us a favor, hit that like button to show some love. And just want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Fernando, what's up? What's up? Hey, welcome in. Omar's in the building. We got Corey. We got TTR001, which I think that's Thanos, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, TT Thanos. You should change your name to TT Thanos. That's what you should do.
What's up, Dylan in the building? We got Marvin here, Dylan, a whole bunch of great people. And we appreciate everybody. I can't say everyone because there's just so many people being here. I will just say quickly to Jason. Jason, my friend, this is how I know you haven't been watching our channel. All right? Because you're commenting, how is Loveland not your favorite player in this draft class? But you're looking at the one guy who has him ahead of Tyler Warren in the industry. I feel like every single stream I'm being, torn down by the community because I have Loveland ahead of Tyler Warren. And I tried to explain to people, hey, production is really not that predictive of future NFL success. And I try to explain to them that I love Tyler Warren. If I was an NFL GM, he'd be my tight end 1 on the board. But for fantasy purposes, I talk about how I'm obsessed with Colson Loveland, a true wide receiver playing the tight end position, but with a tight end body. I mean, the guy is an absolute freak athlete. So you're at the right place, Jason. Just want to let you know you're home now. All right, I can tell you, you and me can get roasted on a daily basis for loving Colson Loveland. All right, what were you gonna say?
No, did you see Dave Canellis talk about Tyler Warren and? He's an interesting prospect in the passing game, that he can block and all this other stuff.
I didn't hear that.
He was talking about how he can QB sneak as well. So they already have thought, because obviously Bryce is a smaller quarterback. They don't have that big back or big body guy that they can put behind there.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Absolutely, I agree. Hey, be a friend. Smash that like button. And we got a like goal today of 100 likes. With your help, I know we can get there. I'd like to say I apologize for wasting all of your time so far. So let's get to what we're actually here for, okay? And that is a Dynasty Superflex startup mock draft. Now, Badaki, I imagine there are certain people out there who think we're stupid. But there are other people out there who think, these guys are cool. Let's hang out with them. Let's get in a mock draft with them and practice some Dynasty startup mocks. For those people in Category 2, how can they join today's mock draft?
Yeah, guys, join our Discord. That link is in the description, and I'll put that link in the chat there as well. Whenever Zach sends me the link to the Discord or to the stream, to the draft, I can send that out to you. But the way to get into the draft, join our Discord, go to the Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs, and go to announcements. That's exactly where you can join each and every mock draft whenever you are watching now or later or in the future. This is how you join every single time. So there's no other way. Okay. I am going to, you know what? Let's go first. Okay. I'm going to send that link out. It is first come, first serve. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I just realized I'm the idiot, not Jason. And I probably should have expected that. He was trying to do a play on the name, like Love Land, Dynasty Land. Wait. Yeah, Love Land is what he was trying to say. That's why he was saying, like, it should be your favorite player in the class. He was trying to do a play on words, but I'm an idiot. That is the problem. Anyway, okay, we figured it out.
We got there. And either way, we had a little rant with Loveland, and now we understand.
Yes.
I keep seeing somebody asking if the land should be capitalized. It didn't look good in the design. I tell you that much.
I like the way this looks.
We tried that. We had it all capitalized. We didn't have it capitalized. We had the Dynasty land. It just didn't look too good. You can show them like the ops if you really wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, where can I find it?
I'm pretty sure it's on the drive.
Okay. Then where do I go?
Random branding.
Yep.
2025 branding.
Yeah.
And then click on the Fantasyland branding ops, and it should just come up.
Okay, yeah. This looks like... Okay, yeah. All right, I mean, yeah. Well, look, we haven't even done this yet. So let's give you guys actually a little look at the entire brand. This is what Badaki has been working on a lot on the back scenes. You started this in August, and obviously yesterday we actually released it. We didn't show you any of this, but... You know, oftentimes you're like, okay, it's a rebrand. Your logo changed. All right, what's the big deal? But you'll kind of see it. You've probably already seen it in our draft guide, but a lot of things kind of changed. This is like the colorway for the redraft channel. All right, so Fantasyland football. This will be the kind of colors that we focus on here. All this was very intentional. It's not football, it's life is kind of like the tagline. We've had that for a hot minute, but I love it. And the orange colors kind of shine a little bit more on the redraft channel. These secondary logos we like. You'll see that logo kind of worked into the rookie draft already, or the rookie report already, which is cool.
Rookie reports and just stuff like that, yeah.
This is our Dynastyland version of it. All right, so very similar, but the colorway is just a little bit different. Love this logo. We don't know exactly where to use this logo yet. We have no idea what to use it for yet, but we really, really love it.
We'll figure it out.
And here's like some practical ways that we have implemented it with all these different colorways and logos. Like you'll see, this is our current profile picture, but we wanted to use this darker red, but this one was a better, easier transition to our previous branding.
Once you guys know the brand, like the new branding, a lot of people come to YouTube for the first time, like, oh, I thought these guys were Dynastyland, and see a new logo. It's like, oh. So then we can play with these logos in different colors throughout the season. You know, we can put green up for Christmas or orange for Halloween. You know, you get stuff like that. You know, have some fun with it. You know how streamers have these like Christmas lights around? Let's have fun. We streamers too.
You like to have fun? I like to party.
I mean, we all like to have fun. Anyways,
I like to party.
That's not right.
All right. Anyway, let's get into this Superflex mock draft. Okay, Superflex, PPR, third round reversal, tight end premium. Let's say 0.5, and rookies are draftable. Okay. So let's get this thing going here in 3, 2, 1. As someone's at the 101.
I ain't no bitch.
And he just proved that he is a little bitch because
he's afraid.
He's afraid of the future. He's afraid of the future, aka Jaden Daniels.
1A, 1B.
People are saying we need some Dynastyland hats, and yeah, we are actually. We just so you guys know, we have a plan to create merch, but we want to do it in a very specific way. Like we want to do like monthly drops eventually, and we want a portion of the proceeds to go towards a foundation that we believe in. For example, there's something that I believe in myself called Run to Stop It, and it's essentially it helps. It funds like to stop sex trafficking essentially, and you know there's a couple other foundations that we both really love, so we'd like to find a way to contribute to those with what we're doing, not just to contribute to ourselves. So we've thought about doing like monthly drops and a portion of that going to a cause that we really believe in. just a way to give back. So it's not just, you know, I want to do more than just put money in our pockets, obviously. But yeah, definitely merch is an idea that we have and that we're hoping to unleash here in the future. Just a lot of things to get figured out.
Yeah, but yeah, well, obviously we'll let you guys know, and I would love feedback, you know, on merch, what type of stuff you're looking for. Obviously, Zach and I are really into fashion, so it won't be like your typical shirt with like land or Dynasty land on it. It's going to be a little bit high fashion, something that you can get at one of your favorite clothing brands, you know, like it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, we don't want to pop our logo on a t-shirt and be like,
and just say, here guys, like, here,
that's just
spend
not
$50 on our logo.
Yeah.
Nah, we want to get creative. We want it to be a brand bigger than what we have. So
all right, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Hurts, all going in the first 7 picks. We also have Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, Bowers off the board. And that does put me in a quite peculiar situation because I have no idea what to do. In fact, every time I draft at the back end of the board, I end up having no idea what to do. I think what I will do, I'll grab Bijan here. Bijan or Gibbs, I don't care which one I would have gone there. 1A, 1B. You know, there was another name I am considering, and I just want to have a conversation when he comes off the board because I'm not getting nervous, but I am starting to ask questions in my mind of this player because the future's looking confusing, shall I say? I don't know. It's a little bit confusing.
Interested on who could that be?
Yes. As Neighbors comes off the board, there goes Amon-Ra St. Brown. So Josh goes double wide receiver to start there. And we get Brian Thomas. So, I mean, I think I'm going to have to take this player based off my rankings. And it feels like a huge value. Let me just say, if this player continues on their trajectory, this feels like a huge value to get him at the 203. He might be worth more than the other wide receivers that just went off the board. But the conversation I want to have is if Matthew Stafford is actually going to be moving on, which it looks like that's a real possibility. If Matthew Stafford actually moves on from this team, I mean, the latest conversation is that maybe Aaron Rodgers goes there and he brings Davante Adams with him. That sounds like hell. That sounds awful. I do not want to see Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers in LA messing up what Puka Nacua and Sean McVay have going on. Now, here's what I'll say. If I make this pick and Stafford does move on, and let's say they go out and they get Sam Darnold, I'm chilling. I feel completely fine. We've seen Sam Darnold in a high volume passing offense over there in Minnesota with good wide receivers around him. He can support it, but I don't know, dude. Like, I'm getting squirmish. What's the word? Like, I'm always crawling out of my body a little bit right now thinking about what's going on there in the future. But I trust McVay. I agree with WG, by the way. I trust McVay absolutely, and that's why I'm ultimately making the pick here at the 203.
Yeah, and I think that's always been my concern with guys with all the quarterbacks that break out, right? So, like, when Puka did come in, hell, even Cooper Kupp, when Matthew Stafford came over, I was like, oh, this is awesome. How long is this going to last for in a dynasty perspective? And the fact that that's already happening is like, if Matthew Stafford does walk, Puka, people are going to feel like he's going to be a value depending on who that quarterback is. And he might be the only player, and it might be Jackson Dart throwing him the ball, hypothetically, or it might be Sam Darnold, or it might be Jameis Winston, and you're just going to be like, well, he's the only one to get targeted there, or to be targeted there. That's going to be the next conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, there's no one else there to compete with him.
Best case scenario is that Stafford signs like a two-year deal or something. I think that's the best outcome for a Puka Nacua here. J-Mo says a KC fan fades Mahomes, though. Yeah, I've been doing that all offseason, man. I mean, I feel like after that top 5, the Allen, Daniels, Jackson, Burrow, Hurts, I don't really have an interest in forcing a quarterback up the board when there's like these top tier running backs and wide receivers available. I'd rather try and hit quarterbacks a little bit later. No disrespect to Mahomes, love the guy, but he's not been this fantasy savior that we've led him to believe. I mean, I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but what is the percentage chance that Mahomes is as valuable as Trevor Lawrence next year from a fantasy points per games perspective? What is the percentage chance you think that's possible, guys? I could be an idiot. I could be completely wrong. But trying to be unbiased as a fan, and that's why I don't really draft a lot of players from my own team. Maybe I'm biased with Jaden Daniels, but that's because I loved him and he was drafted my team and I was right. So I like to, but I was wrong on a lot of things as well, by the way. But I want to ask you guys, what is the percentage chance you think that maybe, just maybe, Patrick Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence have a similar points per game next year? And then you start to ask yourself, what does that mean about all the other quarterbacks going around him? How high should I really be taking him in a startup draft? You know? So what percentage chance do you think? I mean, I believe this team would like to draft a running back and build around the run game again, which is what helped them win those Super Bowls when Pacheco was healthy, you know? So I don't know. It's just it's tough for me with a Mahomes. Like I get it because like he's such a secure name. You're really not hurting yourself by drafting him, but I'm not so certain that you're helping yourself either. Does that make sense? I don't know. Like maybe I'm really off base here. Like you might get the same value in round 6. You know?
Yeah, like I get what you're saying, but the fact that Mahomes could be the QB1 or top 3 QB at any given point in time compared to Trevor Lawrence, who hasn't hit that yet. So like I think then it goes to how high can they really finish? And we know Patrick Mahomes can be QB1 any day, any given week, any given season.
Right,
so
but
I think that's the backing behind, at least from my perspective.
So
like,
I hear where you're coming from, but if you said that 2 years ago, I'd be like, you know what, you're actually totally right. Like, at what point do you adjust? How big of a sample size do you need to see that Mahomes might not be an elite quarterback in fantasy football anymore? I mean, guys, it's been 2 years now, 2 full years of a sample size where he's averaging about 18. He has averaged 18.4 points per game in the last 2 years. He's not been top 10 or top 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 in the past 2 years at all. And I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. I think people are drafting based off of the history and how the ceiling is always high. Just like maybe it's not the best comparison, but it's kind of the same reason why why Anthony Richardson was a top 2 pick is because what could his ceiling be?
I think it's the opposite. I would argue it's the opposite because people have seen him. They think he's a safe player. They know how good he is in the real NFL.
Sure.
And it's like, I'm not going to bust making this pick. I think it's the opposite personally.
Sure. And that could be the case too.
But anyway, I make a lot of dumb calls. So this could be my next dumb call where I'm letting Mahomes slip into the second round. I don't know.
I think it's up to interpretation on how you feel about Mahomes personally. Like
Omar says, I think Mahomes outscores Burrow next year. My question is how? Like logistically how? Because Joe Burrow has Chase. Probably they're going to bring back Higgins is what it sounds like. Rashee Rice is great, but he's giving you more after the catch. Are you expecting Worthy to break out? I mean, Kelsey is clearly not the same guy, so you can't rely on him as much. How I guess, Omar, how do you envision that happening? Like, who is it funneling through in the offense? Is there someone in the draft you think they're going to take high? I mean, they took a wide receiver in first round last year. It's hard to see them doing it again, but it's possible. Like, where do you think, I guess, it comes together? Right, where's the glue is what I want to know. I guess you could play the side of it where it's like, look, Hollywood Brown wasn't healthy, Rashee Rice wasn't healthy, and he still averaged 18.4 points per game. Like that's actually fair enough, right? But yeah. I don't know. I think you can make a really solid case on either side of that argument. I feel like Mahomes is being drafted where he should. Like, I'll just say that. If Collins and Genty weren't there, I think Mahomes would have been my next pick. I don't know that I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's going to help me win a fantasy league again. Maybe. But you could maybe draft Dak Prescott in round 7 and you might have the same thing. Is that stupid to say? I don't know.
No, I don't think it's stupid to say.
Connor, what's up, man? He says, when do you guys typically do your first live rookie draft video? So we live stream all of our follower leagues, the real rookie drafts, and that is like the entirety of the month of May and June. Like pretty much in May and June, guys, and like early May, by the way, all you'll see us live streaming is real drafts, real rookie drafts. It'll be like again and again and again. It'll be like, oh my gosh, like this is it's our favorite time of the year, and it's typically everyone's favorite streams that we do. All right, so by the way, in round 3, I took CJ Stroud, who was one of my biggest sell highs all last offseason. He was a top 3 pick. I'll take him there at the 303. We see Jordan Love, JSN, Rice, Devon Achane, Higgins, Lawrence, Kyler, Garrett Wilson, McMillan, Saquon, Adunze, AJ Brown, Amarion Hampton coming off the board.
Amarion to the Cowboys, gosh.
That would be hot.
I mean, it's locked. I mean, no, I think no matter where Tech goes, Amarion's locked for 102.
Yeah.
Like, where you put in, where can Tech go that you want him to take? You want to take him over Amarion?
Where would I mean? I think I would say the opposite. Where does Hampton have to go? Where you take him over McMillan? Are you talking about in this world where Hampton is a top 12 pick?
Yeah, in the world where Hampton is a top 12 pick.
If Hampton's a top 12 pick, he's the 102. It's locked in.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter where Tech goes.
There's no. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. You know. At least that's how I feel. You agree, right?
I'm trying to think of a team. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a team. I just want to double check the teams. Yeah, I don't see one, dude. I really don't. What about if it's Tech? Nah. I was gonna say, what if it was like Tech to Washington or Tech to Denver? Tech to the Bengals doesn't make sense because of team.
If Amarion Hampton is a 12th overall pick in the draft to the Dallas Cowboys, there's not a spot Tech could go where I would rank him over Amarion Hampton in rookie drafts. Just purely based off historical hit rates. It is like impossible for a round 1 running back not to hit in fantasy football. The only two that I can think of in the last 11 years are Rachaad White and Sony Michel. Or not Rachaad White, sorry. Rashard Penny. Rashad Penny and Sony Michel. Sony Michel was just dog shit and the Patriots suck at drafting. And as far as Rashard White, he was incredible. He just got injured.
Yeah.
No, I actually agree with Silas here. Like I would even go as far as saying if Hampton goes in round 1, he will be a lock as my guys. Let's make this clear. If Hampton, Caleb, Henderson, if any of those guys go in round 1, they are a lock for my 102. Completely locked and loaded.
Obviously, with obviously clear, like to make it clear, with clear pathways to workload. Like you're not taking those guys.
Well, I would be shocked if someone takes a running back in round 1 without expecting to use them, you know? I mean, like, so the scenario you're thinking of here is probably like what Henderson goes.
Like
Henderson's probably the one that you're thinking of, right?
I'm just thinking of scenarios. Like I just wanted to clarify, like you're not going to take somebody that goes to the Packers.
You're saying like,
right.
Yeah, right. You're saying like if Henderson went to the Packers. I mean, that would be difficult, but
I get what you're saying in the sense of like
the intention is like this is a first round pick for us.
100%. And
I would struggle.
And I get what you're saying, like Chargers, Pittsburgh, Bengals. Obviously, I doubt these teams will take a running back in the first, but hypothetically, Dallas, right? Chicago. We all know if they go to these teams, Washington, Kansas, maybe these guys are going to be locked in first round picks. So
yeah. Someone said you're forgetting Clyde. No, he is in the data, and that's fair to call him out. But actually, Clyde as a rookie was the RB20 on a points per game basis. So for that star status, he would have hit, but not for the superstar status. Which is why
he missed 4 games or 6 games that year.
Well, on a points per game basis, though, that's where we take that data from. But yeah, no, I mean he's like one of those where it's like that doesn't feel good to say that's a hit. But that's why I look more at the superstar status when I'm making like a first round pick. Like I want to know a little bit more of a guarantee, you know? Okay, so McCarthy goes, Goff goes, Taylor, DJ Moore. I like all those picks a lot. Yeah. Interesting situation to be in here because I really feel like we're in a tier of wide receivers that I'm kind of indifferent about. Like, really, from ADP 57 here to like 81, I kind of don't care which wide receivers go, which makes this a little bit difficult for me. I don't really want to take a tight end here. I think Laporta is a great value in a tight end premium. It's a tight end premium. It's a 5-3. I'll take Laporta. I just don't have a strong opinion. Oh, shit. I forgot about Luther. Yeah, that's a good pick. Style says, I'd like to use my trade window. That would be fun. Yeah, no cinnamon today. Trent Richardson was ass. Yeah, just so you guys know, our hit rates don't go back. That would be like 20 years. Yeah. It's only 11 years of data, right? So
it wasn't 20 years for Trent.
How far ago? How long? I mean, I think you are underestimating how old we are now.
How old? Trent was what? 2012, 13. That's not 20 years. Shit.
He barely misses the cutoff. Actually, yeah.
I was about to say we ain't that old.
But to be fair, as a rookie, Trent looked. I mean, he put up numbers. Like he
looked decent.
He almost was like the Najee Harris of his rookie season. Like it's like, oh yeah, it's good for fantasy, and then it's like, actually, he's not that good of a player, is he? Yeah, as a rookie, he averaged 17 points per game. That's actually eerily similar to Najee's rookie season. If you remember, Najee just thrived off the Big Ben dump offs.
Yeah.
It's like every game's like 7 targets at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's actually so true.
All right, so in round 5, by the way, we have Goff, Moore. I went Laporta, DJ, Luther Burden went off the board, which I kind of wish I would have drafted. Olave went, Kyron, Devonta Smith, James Cook, Bryce Young off the board. There goes Jalen Waddle at the 5'10".
Jalen Waddle. That's what I need.
If JRLV is watching this, look at this, man. Jalen Waddle at the 5'10", DJ Moore at the 5'2". Come at me, brother. I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking. I'm absolutely kidding, by the way. Jalen Waddle went off the board, but it like was a delayed reaction from Sleeper. What was that?
It did it again. It was weird. I have no idea.
What's up, K Money? Welcome in, my friend. Welcome in. Yeah, 13 years. So he's just past that data. I mean, full transparency with you guys. I only had so much time, and also I do feel like at some point you want to be careful how far back you go with your data because it might not really reflect today's NFL. You know, like for example, I'm trying to think of like a good example. There's plenty. I don't know why I'm mind blanking right now, but even like the way offenses are run, or the way like defenses play too high safeties now, you know, there's just certain trends that may not fully reflect today's NFL. Oh, okay. This is DJ Moore shouldn't have been available, Badaki. Something weird happened. DJ Moore and Cam Ward switched places. Did Jordan mean to take Cam Ward, or did he mean to take DJ Moore?
Well, I know Jordan's here. Oh, well, Jordan is here. So you want to... Wait, what? How
That's weird. That's like a really weird glitch.
Was that a... Oh, yeah. He did take
okay.
DJ Moore.
Clearly what's happened here is Badaki is abusing his power on the stream. No, obviously that's some weird glitch that just happened. So we'll fix that up, and now you need to make a pick. Stop stealing players from other teams. What the hell?
Oh, God.
This guy's just stealing players from other teams left and right. Jeez.
Well, I guess I'll just take a rookie then. I'll take Amika. Okay, I'll get rookie happy today.
You don't have enough, so I think you should get another one there.
Yeah, I'll get rookie happy.
I think when you clicked on it, it did something weird. People are saying, yeah, that's weird. Yeah, Michael, that's a good point. Or even like I'm almost, he's talking about how wide receivers, like first round picks, weren't always expected to produce this early. They've just gotten better and better, which is true. But another really good example, Badaki, is, and this is why I missed out on like Laporta in his rookie season as far as redraft. I did not take any Sam Laporta. And a lot of that was because if you looked at the last 30 years of data, very rarely did a tight end ever make a fantasy impact as a rookie. It's like, it was like 11% or something, like 15% or something of first round tight ends made an actual impact in fantasy as a rookie. And now we have 2 years, and granted, Brock Bowers is like the best tight end we've ever seen coming out of college, right? And him or Kyle Pitts. So, but is that an indication that tight ends are meaning more to collegiate offenses, and now the NFL believes that they can mean more to them at an earlier age, So it's almost like that's why I'm not anti tight ends in round 1 of rookie drafts anymore, because we have seen now 2 years in a row evidence that rookie tight ends can produce and they can improve their value. So it's that is another good example, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think history kind of repeats itself. I think there was a really good run of phenomenal tight ends back in the day, like even before our time. And I think that's maybe that's coming back.
They were all. It took them a long time to really develop, is a thing,
Yeah.
Which is what
not coming off right off the gate.
We're kind of seeing it happen much quicker now, which is super interesting to see. All right, so after Jacobs, you went Henderson and Igbuka. We had Ward off the board, Addison, Hawkinson, Worthy, Flowers, and now Bitter Vet is on the clock. He has his 2 quarterbacks, a wide receiver, and 2 running backs at this time. Yes, Raymond, I did catch that. Did you see that, Badaki? I tweeted out about that actually today. So if you guys don't know, we had the Browns GM, and they asked him a question about Travis Hunter. Let me make my pick here because I'll talk to you guys about it as CMC comes off the board. I'll make my pick and then we'll have a little conversation. I thought it was super interesting to see. As Ayuk goes, that's actually a great pick. I keep feeling like Ayuk is one of the best picks in fantasy drafts right now, in dynasty drafts right now. I mean, I can't really complain about Ken Walker at the 6'10", can I? I'll take him there. But yeah, the Browns GM did say, Andrew Berry said, he sees Travis Hunter as a wide receiver first, but what makes him a unicorn is that he can play both wide receiver and cornerback at a high level. And if you guys have been watching our content, I keep telling you that if Travis declared as a wide receiver, he would be my wide receiver 1 in the class. And I keep advocating that he could be an even better receiver than he is a cornerback in the NFL. Like, he has a talent to be like a top 7 receiver in the NFL if he truly reaches his ceiling. So it was cool to see someone who's drafting that high say, you know what? I think he could be like an all-star receiver. I think he could be an all-pro receiver. And we can also, feature him at cornerback. I thought that was really cool to see. And I actually was like, we need someone to track this. And then we had someone, Dynasty Dustin, who talked about Coach Speak Index. They actually replied and said, I've been dropping it in here. I guess it's their Discord. I'll have to check that out later. But I feel like we need someone to track it. And if they're already doing that over there at the Coach Speak Index, I'm going to be very interested in following up with that. So,
yeah, and I think it's going to be huge because, like, what happens if the next GM comes out and says, "Oh, I see him as a CB1 first."
Yeah,
and it's gonna mess with the whole thing. So it just really depends on the team that drafts him, and how they view him. Because, and if, for example, if the Browns draft him, we know. Wide receiver first.
Maybe.
And not only that,
they could be lying.
But that's what I'm saying. Exactly, they could be lying, or we have to look at the structure of that team, right? Because you think of the secondary and on the Browns, you think of the wide receivers on the Browns. It's like, well, it just makes sense that he plays that.
Yeah. I don't want to keep grabbing this position, but I almost feel like I have to because I just keep seeing it as a huge value. Has Caleb Johnson not gone off the board, or am I tripping? Okay, Caleb Johnson is still there. That's kind of crazy to me because I see a range of outcome where Caleb could be the 102. Like, if Caleb sneaks into round 1, I know it's not possible. But if Caleb's like a round 1 pick to the Vikings, he totally, in my mind, is in that tier where he could end up being the 102, the 103. So to get him this late at the 703, I feel weird building my team around running backs right now. It's very strange. It's very anti what I typically do, but I think that's one of my favorite picks so far I've made in this draft.
Yeah, no, good pick. Good peak, man. Good peak.
And Lion brings up a good point. He says, I've had people argue with me that it doesn't matter what the team that drafts Hunter wants him to play. If he wants to play cornerback, he'll be a cornerback. I actually kind of believe the opposite of that. I believe if an NFL team drafts him, and by the way, this will all kind of be established this week. We probably won't actually know these conversations, but Travis Hunter will be in so many meetings this week at the Combine, and he'll kind of get a pulse of what NFL teams want him to do. But if an NFL team drafts him at number 2 overall and they say, you're going to be a cornerback. Yeah, sorry, I don't care if Deion Sanders, I don't care if Prime calls the coach up. It's not going to change anything. He's going to be a cornerback.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I've also been thinking, okay, so like, he can't be at 2 places at once either. He has to go to defensive meetings and offensive meetings.
I thought about that too, and I don't know how they would fix that, but if they could find a way, I guess. I don't know.
I think, like, yeah, he is going to have a package where, like, I don't know, maybe it's third and long, and they really want him to cover this guy, and we're gonna lock him down, but he won't be in on first and second downs. Like, I just don't understand.
I'm not gonna pretend to like know enough about the defensive side of the ball, because clearly I don't study it because we don't do IDP. I don't pretend to know enough about it to be like, what is possible from it, like, because you could put him at slot and you could rotate him in if you wanted to do that, but he's more of like a true lockdown outside guy. I honestly have no idea. Full transparency, I have no idea.
Yeah, and I just find it difficult to. I feel like if he gets drafted as a wide receiver and said, Travis is going to be a wide receiver, he's 100% wide receiver with a very small package on defense, or vice versa. If he goes as a cornerback, it's not going to excite me as a fantasy owner.
Sure. It's a really peculiar situation, which I don't think we'll be in again.
That means
for like another 15 years or something. Like, genuinely, I don't know that. The only thing I will tell you guys as viewers is if anyone is confident in what they're telling you about him, I would be very cautious trusting those people. If the people you're watching are saying, full transparency, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. You can trust them. But if you're watching people who are like, this is exactly what's going to happen, I just don't believe anyone in the Dynasty space is plugged in enough to really have that answer for you. So maybe that's helpful. Maybe it's not. But yeah. This is the time of the year for scandalous reports. Team will bring up dirty laundry for whatever reason. Laramie Tunsil.
I completely agree. Because someone's also said, like, it could be a smokescreen.
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah.
For them, right? Like, it could be. I just don't know.
Yeah, exactly, Michael. I'm confident that I don't know what his usage is going to be in the NFL. But I am also confident that if he had 7 targets per game, then if he fell out of like the 106 in the rookie draft, it would be a huge deal. So I'm confident in both of those things. Does that mean anything? Probably not.
No, man.
Yeah, I could see him play out of the slot, but I think he can win outside as well. I think he can win outside. Derrick Henry coming off the board. Joe Mixon coming off the board. Some of these veterans. I love Ayuk, man. I think he's just such a good pick in startup drafts right now. I really love that pick. You got a pretty good value with Tyreek Hill that late at the 801. Jerry Jeudy would have been my next pick.
Yeah,
not gonna lie. Jackson Dart coming off the board. I mean, there is some hype for him in round 1. I currently have him ranked as my 29th player on my big board for Dynasty rookie drafts. But if he goes round 1, I'll clearly have to change that ranking.
I need Matthew Stafford. This is what's going to happen. I need Matthew Stafford to sign a long contract extension with the Rams. I need Cam and Shador to go 1 and 2. We'll get Travis Hunter. We'll get Jackson Dart round 2. Take a chance.
Yeah.
We get an elite player, and then it's okay. We'll take Jackson at the 202.
Sure. As Godwin and Andrews come off the board, I will say, as an NFC East fan for Washington, I kind of love that the Giants need a quarterback in a class that I'm not really fond of. I would hate it if you guys had a top 5 pick last year.
Yeah, well, fucking Tommy Cutlets ruined that, didn't he?
Shout out
He should
to
have lost
Tommy.
that game at Green Bay.
Tommy Cutlets. You know, okay, so who just went off the board? David Montgomery. Wow, this is really cheap for this player. Okay. Okay, do I... I don't know. That's... How far can I... Okay, I mean... I'll take Jaden Reed here. There's like 3 players I was looking at that I was like, holy hell, that's cheap. But I'll take Jaden Reed at the 810. I like that value. Honestly, Reed might be better in fantasy if they actually do have a true 1. Like, if they have a true 1 and they can kind of define roles a little bit more. Is it crazy to say Reed might actually be better in fantasy for that? I don't know.
I guess it just depends. Depends on the player that they bring in.
I'm confident that Jaden Reed's a good player. I'm just wildly confused by how they don't use him consistently. Like, I'm confident that Jaden Reed, if you give him 8 targets per game, I'm confident he can be a Pro Bowl level receiver, which what does that really mean right now? But, you know, I really don't understand the usage. It's really shocking. Oh, Matthew Golden is such a good pick. That's another one of those rookies that slid through the cracks. If he goes round 1, you'll be cheering that you made that pick. Appreciate everybody watching, by the way. We're almost over 200 viewers, which is incredible. Be a friend. Smash that like button to show some love. Ricky Pearsall, I had him on my radar. That's a great pick. You know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to take a player that just got a big old new contract.
Oh, come on, baby. Talk him up.
Welcome home, Khalil Shakir. When I say big old contract, I'm actually being sarcastic. Because if you look at the contract, it's like $15 million a year.
How much money you make?
For the wide receiver position. You know exactly how much money I make because it's how much money you make. For the wide receiver position, I thought that was a real steal, honestly. 4 years, $60 million, only 32 guaranteed. So think about that for a second. In 4 years, it's a $15 million per year contract, but he's only guaranteed $8 million a year. That is like the cheapest contract I've seen for a productive player. Like, what did Christian Kirk get? Didn't Kirk get like 18 million per year, and that was like 3 years ago? The market's changed. How did they sign him that cheap? I don't get it. I'm not sure whether to move him up or keep him exactly where he was. You know what I mean? I don't know what to do with him.
I think what it tells me is that they love him and they're going to pay somebody that much money on a team that has no one still, if you think about it, even though it's not a lot of money. But I think they see how they're going to continue to utilize him in the future. Now they drafted a wide receiver last year. They're going to draft another one this year. They're going to trade for another wide receiver.
I don't know.
I think this is the core.
Why did they trade for Amari Cooper then if they were happy with their core?
I don't know.
That to me says we're not.
Why didn't they use Amari Cooper if they weren't happy with their core?
Is Amari Cooper good still? What was it really all Deshaun Watson's fault, or were those drops actually on him? Is he actually aging out? I don't know.
Yeah, no idea.
See, we're all asking good questions that we don't have the answers to.
I'm confident that I don't know.
I'd love to see what Matt Harmon says on Amari Cooper last year. I'm not sure he was the same player anymore. I'm not sure he wasn't. Anyway, I'm not really sure that Shakir Like, I just moved him up 2 spots in my rankings.
I don't
From
think he's like
34 to 32. I don't really feel a need to move him higher than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's not going to be like he shouldn't be crazy significantly high, but I think it's just worth monitoring. I think if you telling me at the end of this year, Shakira, the Bills don't have anyone and they have the same core, it's like, okay, they just feel really confident with this.
Yeah.
But I really don't know. What do I know?
JCM says Deshaun's the biggest buy right now. Bro's a stud. All right, you go Debo and you just destroy my heart rookies by grabbing Jalen Royals there. I was letting him fall and it didn't work. Trying to keep up with the chat. I appreciate y'all for being here with. I agree, Scribbles. Criminal usage of Reed. I'm right there with you. Michael says Hunter might have opened the door for a larger group of high school seniors picking their college right now based on flexibility to be an athlete. He might have. The thing is, I just personally believe that Travis Hunter is, and I don't want to use the word generational, but I think he is kind of like a very rare breed, like the 0.01% of athletes. I don't think most people could have done what he did.
I just don't think NFL GMs want someone like that, though. Like, they want... Let me rephrase that.
They definitely want someone like that, but they might not want... You mean like the task of figuring out how to deploy him?
Exactly. I think it's too much to figure out. How can we get excellence on both sides of the ball and utilize him?
Right.
I think they would rather have a wide receiver that could play running back.
Yeah.
Right? That would be... Because it's still on the same side of the ball. That's why they love, not they love, but like, you think of Tyrone and how he could be a wide, like, let's say they draft the running back. That's all right. Put Tyrone in the slot.
Yeah.
Put him out. I'll put him outside. Why? Because he has the history of playing wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was eyeing up Jack Besh or Trey Harris with this next pick, and it's been completely spoiled by everybody here. I wanted to talk about the Anthony Richardson pick. You and I were very famously, if you want to say or not, I don't know, anti-Anthony Richardson, anti-Michael Pittman, anti-Jonathan Taylor last year. They were our biggest sells. We pretty much told you to sell every Colt outside of Josh Downs. And that's because Anthony Richardson was going at like the 202, 205, late second at worst. And now we've got Anthony Richardson at the 905. That feels like one of the best risk-reward picks in this entire draft so far to me.
I mean, yeah, the fact that you can get him here, you can't even get a first for Anthony Richardson right now. I don't even think somebody wants to send. And Anthony Richardson owner doesn't even want to sell him for less than a first. So like the fact that you can get him here at the 9.5 is tremendous. But the potential is there, and obviously, amazing combine. Amazing ability and attributes. Can he put it together?
That's the question. I have no idea what to do, so I'll just take Devontae Adams. I honestly had no idea what to do with that pick. When you're choosing between Devontae Adams and Kyle Pitts, it's starting to get rough out here in these streets.
Yeah, that is rough.
Yeah, I actually think Anthony Richardson he actually might be a buy now. Styles says, that's me. Johnny says, rookie fever is alive and well in this draft. Yeah, who the fuck took 4 rookies in the first 7 rounds? I'm just kidding.
I think that's me.
That was the joke.
Come on, baby.
JCM. JCM's on his like troll mode in this mock draft today.
I know.
I love it. I actually love it.
I wanted Njoku. I was hoping that he was gonna fall there, but I guess it's not, brother.
Yeah.
You guys know me. I never go rookie heavy, but I'm okay. Let's go rookie.
I really felt.
Does he actually have?
I really felt that was the last one. That was the last one for me that I wanted to draft. Seriously, looking at all these quarterbacks and thinking about all these rookies, I think Justin was the last one I want. Why are we not talking about Justin Fields more? Like, he's probably going to start. He will start for a team this year.
There's nothing to talk about. We don't know what we can talk about him once
No,
we know the team.
I can promise you with 70% certainty he's going to start for a team this year. He just is. He's a free agent. By the way,
I think it's yeah. He is a free agent.
I'll take a rookie here. I'll take one of my favorite rookie receivers. I think he deserves as much respect as his teammate is getting, Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins is getting the respect, and he deserves it. I think Jalen Noel deserves the respect as well, but he isn't. I keep saying he is this year's Josh Downs in sheep's clothing because no one's talking about him. I mean, we had that 1 week where he just dominated the Senior Bowl, and there was hype. But since then, it's like, why is no one talking about him anymore? He's still the guy you saw at the Senior Bowl. He's still the guy that pops on film. Still a my guy for me, so I'll take him off the board there. As Devin Neal was another name I was definitely considering. He goes off the board at the 11-6. I like that a lot. David says 70% of the time, Zach guarantee works every time. Yeah, I agree, Styles. Buy Justin Fields before free agency. That's actually true. I appreciate you, Latino Heat. What do we got rocking right now? We've got Stroud, Baker, Bijan, Walker, Puka, Reed, Shakir, Adams, Knoll, Laporta. I'm rocking with it. RJ Harvey and Scootin' Tootin' off the board. So people are just getting their guys now. Oh, wow. Tony Pollard's actually pretty good value. Getting a starting running back that late.
I'll show you a starting running back, man. I'll show you. I'll show you 2 starting running backs, actually.
What are the odds right now? The over-under of Badaki taking 2 rookies right now.
Come on, tell me.
La
Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
Yeah. Well, Latino Heat, you like that new Bad Bunny?
Oh, Bad Bunny.
That actually goes fire, though. I love this new album.
Yeah. As Matt Stafford comes off the board there.
2 guaranteed starters. Guaranteed.
Yeah, Trey Benson's a great pick there. Brian Robinson.
Guaranteed.
I imagine he's going to lose his job personally, but I really like the Trey Benson pick there. I would put it at like a true 50-50 that Brian Robinson loses his job.
No, I think Washington is definitely a team that is going to be drafting a running back. I mean, they have the 1-2 tandem though. Like they used Austin Eckler often.
Eckler was great, but you need someone young to build around long term. Like actually, Henderson would be a really good fit in Washington. Now that I'm thinking about it. In fact, there's a couple names I think would be really good fits in Washington. I've talked about Brashard Smith, who I love. I think he'd be a really great Eckler long-term replacement. Obviously, Travion Henderson's the easy one to talk about, but even guys like Samson or Jarquez Hunter or Woody Marks, I think these guys would actually be really good fits. Jordan James.
My question is, first 2 rounds he loses his job, but what about 3rd round?
I think they could draft someone in round 4 and his job is in jeopardy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just don't think he's very good.
Yeah.
And I've kind of felt that way since he came out of Alabama, but he had a couple usable seasons.
Yeah.
But he's just kind of the definition of mid. And by the way, I say that as like a guy sitting at a desk who will never play for an NFL team. I'm well aware of that, but
man got shot too. You saying he's mid? He's alive.
I'm glad he's alive, to be very clear. I like him. Darnell Mooney's a great pick there. I was definitely eyeing him up. Travis Kelce's back, by the way, guys. I don't know if you heard. So, time to draft him.
Guaranteed.
Jalen Milroe is going to dominate the combine, man. He's going to dominate the combine. And the conversations afterward will be very ridiculous. I promise you this. I mean, to be fair, no one was sure Anthony Richardson was a first-round pick until after the combine. You know what I mean?
I was always hesitant on Anthony Richardson, and then I'm not saying I was like the guy to tell you not to draft him because I think you should have drafted him that high. But I was always hesitant.
Yeah.
I was always hesitant on like the high upside play because people were taking Anthony Richardson, and that was my argument. In one quarterback, people was like, "No, take high upside." I was like, "No, I'm gonna take the guaranteed guy." And I mean, in the moment, I think not we both, but the community would rather still have CJ. I think people are still on the fence with Bryce and Anthony Richardson.
Yeah,
but I think
I had A-Rich as my quarterback 3 in that class. I had Young and CJ ahead of him. I also felt like the narrative that he was supposed to be the 101 was a little bit of hopium.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take a guy I really, really like, and I'm starting to see... Is Dylan Sampson already gone? Okay, my bad.
Yeah, he is.
Well, that's fine because I had someone else in that range. That is DJ Giddens. I'm going to take DJ Giddens off the clock. Huge fan of his game. Impressive production at Kansas State this year, like 6.6 yards per carry, almost 1,400 yards, and the film is fun to watch, man. Like a really good body on him and super elusive in the open field. It's extremely difficult to bring that man down. So I'm going to take him off the board there. I think that running backs, if you're doing a startup right now, they could be huge values, like the Neals of the world, the RJ Harveys, the Tutons, the Giddens. Like those names, the Samsons that are falling down boards could end up being massive values later on.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I saw that, Dylan. Rob Gronkowski's considering returning to the NFL, which is, I don't know. I mean,
a bit random. Like why the Broncos?
He did retire young, but you know what's weird is if you remember all those Tampa Bay days, was he not constantly just injured? Or am I tripping? I feel like he was just a constant injury walking around.
I mean, he was consistently injured. He always had a fucking brace on his arm or knee or something, running hella slow, just making big crazy catches in clutch moments. I mean, I don't understand why he's considering going back to the Broncos. I mean, as much as I love the Broncos and Bo Nix, like, if I'm Rob Gronkowski, I'm going like guaranteed.
You want to go try and win a championship.
It's like, yeah, it's the Chiefs or nothing. Honestly, Chiefs or Eagles, nothing. Like, I'm not going to any other team unless I know I'm going to make it to the playoffs.
The Bills can make sense. Like these teams that are in the mix.
100%. Like, I'm not saying you can't go to any of those teams, but like, you're not going to go to a team. I'm not going to come out of retirement at, what is he, 33, 34, and saying, oh, I like the Broncos.
I think Freak made a great point here. JCM made a great point here. He says, yeah, he might be considering it, but the NFL isn't considering it.
It's just considering
Gronk is now 35 years old.
Like,
I don't think any NFL team is going to take this serious at the age of 35. A guy who's been out of the game for a while. I don't think so. Scribble says, Zach Badaki, thoughts on Leggett? You know, I wasn't really a big Leggett guy coming out last year. I had a lot of concerns. I don't know that we can really fairly assess his year because quarterback play was so up and down. But he wasn't the most consistent receiver on that team, or even the third most consistent receiver on that team. Maybe third. But his season was very up and down. I don't find it that surprising considering his profile, 5th-year breakout, no production before that. I thought first round was too early for him, personally. I was shocked by that when they made that move. I don't know. I don't want to bring up Quentin Johnson, but it almost seems like a similar pathway as far as like you might be able to be a wide receiver 2 in the future, but you're clearly not a 1 alpha.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of it did go for me based off of QB play. A lot of inconsistencies. I don't think he was on the field early in the first half of the season either. He didn't really get, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he really started to pick up like week 5, week 6 onwards. I would like to see him in this offense for another year. Fuck. I'll take Evan Ingram then, I guess. But yeah, like, look, he's definitely not the guy. I mean, here's another starting running back, guaranteed.
I mean, for 2 weeks. Yeah, like if they don't do anything in free agency, it's like
no.
I actually saw this take online on Twitter, which was hilarious. It's like Jalen Wright is the biggest buy right now, and then people are like, "Why?" And they're like, "Because you can sell him in free agency." And I'm thinking in my mind, like, does anyone really think Jalen Wright's going to start for this team? Like, does anyone really think they're going to give the keys to Jalen Wright? I don't know. Maybe I'm off
I mean,
track. I could be off track.
nah, I agree. Look, I think obviously I'm joking. I don't think the Steelers are gonna give it
No,
to Warren.
I assumed you were joking when you did that. Tom Brady.
If the season started today, 100%, lock it in.
It's 100%. Styles says, I know you guys have been going hard on the 2025 rookie content. Any chance you're releasing? Yes, in fact, Styles, that video is coming out in the next 2 weeks. In the next 3 weeks, I can promise you. Yes, in the next 3 weeks. I did it around a month from now last year when I talked about the 2025 class. Had Ginty as my running back one, no big deal. I'm just kidding.
Who was your RB2 though?
My RB2, I think, was Ollie at the time. And I don't watch. The thing is, I don't watch film of these guys until they actually enter the NFL. It was more based off expectations and more of like spreadsheets, analytics, numbers that they hit or didn't. Let me go back and look at that.
That's exactly what I was pulling up. Let's see.
I'm gonna grab Cooper Kupp here. I think these veterans also become pretty good values later in the draft. Yeah, I titled it, Is It Really That Bad? Because everyone was hating on the class. So yes, I had Ginty 1. I had Ollie 2, Judkins 3. I liked Judkins more than Henderson at this time last year, which I don't now. Still like him.
I think we already knew that he wasn't going into that.
I had Tez Johnson in tier 3, so you know I have some bias towards my boy Tez. I had Shador quarterback 1. I still have him quarterback 1. I don't feel like there's any bias in that.
No, I don't think there was anyone. I think that was always the conversation. Well, it was Shador and no one at the time.
Most people had Carson Beck actually as their quarterback 1 last year.
True.
Yeah, I liked Amarion. I didn't like him as much as I do now. Say again.
I said, where is he at now? I know he transferred.
Who?
Was it Ole Miss? Carson Beck?
Carson Beck is at Miami now.
Oh, MIA.
Yeah. Luke Lachey fell off, didn't he? I did have Cam Ward and Jackson Dart as honorable mentions, which is good to see. I also had KJ Jefferson. May he RIP.
Oh, is that KJ?
Do you remember KJ Jefferson used to play Arkansas and then...
That was him and Rocket Sanders. I remember you kept talking them up.
No, Rocket Sanders I didn't actually have in my top.
Not in that one?
Of last
Did he fall off? Did he fall off last year?
He already fell off last year. Because I remember he had like the worst analytics in the class last year if he was to declare. So I was pretty much off him pretty quickly.
Okay, right.
I think he was like a more intense version of what Ollie Gordon did this year.
Yeah, I remember you talking about him and KJ because I think they played on the same team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or went to the same college.
They were both at Arkansas.
Yeah.
But then Raheem went to South Carolina and KJ went to UCF. I don't even think KJ is actually going to enter the draft. He doesn't have any eligibility left, I don't think.
Shout out to UCF. I went to a couple UCF games back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually did. I saw them in Penn State. If I'm not mistaken, I actually saw Jason Pierre-Paul play, and then he was drafted to the Giants. And I just remember that. And then my friend was supposed to go to that game, but his appendix burst, and then his sister went to UCF, and like Jason Pierre-Paul went to the hospital to meet him because he was like a fan of him or whatever.
Yeah, R.I.P. JJ. This is now, he was a 6-year senior. I don't think he has any eligibility left, and I don't think he'll enter the NFL draft. So That was fun while it lasted, I guess. This was fun, guys. I appreciate everybody being here. Be a friend. Go ahead and hit that like button to show some love. We are doing a two-parter on today's stream. The first part was the Dynasty Startup Draft, and the second part is reviewing people's Dynasty teams and kind of helping them decide on what moves to make, you know, customized type of reviews and stuff like that. We do have quite a few people. Hap and Clifford are both offline reviews. I messaged them. I'm waiting for them to reply. If you are watching this, Hap or Clifford,
Please
check your DMs or go to my reviews on the Flock Fantasy tab and look at the messages tab on your review, because those are both offline. But one of you guys, we don't have your sleeper ID. But we will be doing a Hop K92 today. We'll be doing Kirk Hart today, Zoinks, and potentially Mondo Meatball. So we're doing Hop first, but like I said, I had a lot of fun with y'all. Please hang around if you want to keep talking shop, talking ball. We'll obviously focus a little more on the guys who we're giving these reviews to make sure they have their time to shine. But if you are out there, right, and you want your team playbook, I'll put a link in the chat. And I'll actually make it the pinned comment, flockfantasy.com/land. But Team Playbook is essentially a customized game plan for your offseason with trade targets and, you know, understanding your positional priorities, what to do with your draft picks. Again, use the code LAND to become an annual Mother Flocker member, or you can go to the Flock store, purchase a review there if you're on a different promo code. Just get the live version if you want it done live. Link is in the pinned comment. It's in the description. Those are the ways you can get your Team Playbook. And of course, your playbook is sent within 72 hours of us either completing your live review or completing your offline review. So we will be doing these reviews here today, and that is how you can get your team reviewed. If you want to link directly to the Flock store, if you're on a different promo code, I'll put that link in the chat as well. But if you want to become an annual member, it is the best bang for your buck. You know, not only do you get that team playbook, right? You also get our 2025 rookie report, free trade question vouchers, complete rankings, all premium tools and databases. So again, use the promo code LAND. You get 30% off the Flock store in the future. You get your team playbook. It's the best bang for your buck, no doubt about it. All right, let's get that off the screen, and let's go to Hop K92 here first, Badaki. Do we have a chalkboard for him?
Yes, we do. You can go ahead and pull that up, and we appreciate you here, Hop.
We've got two 130s. I just want you to know that right now before we continue. Hop and Chaos Carter are both 130. I just want to make sure we don't get anything messed up here.
Okay. So 131. Okay, so he's one.
So Hop
is 131.
Yeah, I'll change that.
If you can change the other ones for me, just go down the line and I'll read the context here.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is a 2-quarterback, 12-team start 8, which is all heavy hitters. This is a small lineup in a 12-man league. So let's have a look. He says, "Hey guys, appreciate the review. League moved to Superflex and is expanding to 12 teams this offseason." Okay. Lost McMillan Baker to expansion draft. First Dynasty team took over in 2021 and had missed playoffs the last 3 seasons. Hoping you guys can help right the ship and get the team consistently competitive things. Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's already Superflex. You can see at the bottom there, it says Superflex. And it says start 8. So we're going to assume that is what it is, which would be a small starting lineup for Superflex.
Yeah.
Your meat and potatoes type of lineup, right? 2 flex spots along with the 2 Superflex spots. Wait, that's 1 quarterback, sorry.
But it's heavy hitters.
It's actually heavy hitters, yeah. In Superflex, which would be 1 flex spot. And if you're watching this, let us know if that is not the case. But we're going to go ahead and assume that is the case with the information that we have. So it did just turn to Superflex. He lost McMillan and Baker. And let's have a look at the team, shall we?
Yeah, have a look at this team. Currently ranked 9th out of 12. And you have Justin Herbert, Jared Goff. Okay, quarterbacks here. Need some depth, no doubt, just in case one of the guys goes down. At the running back position, Derrick Henry, Brian Robinson, Aaron Jones, and the list goes on. So not terrible running backs with Derrick Henry. Maybe you can get another RB2 here. at the wide receiver position, CeeDee Lamb, Terry, Mike Evans, Jawan Jennings, the list goes on. Really, only CeeDee Lamb's the guy that you have on this at the wide receiver room, with obviously with Terry, and then Tucker Kraft and Cade Alton. You don't have a first in 2025.
Yeah.
And this is a heavy hitter. So,
yeah,
when we think of heavy hitters, we're thinking of absolute studs across the board, right? Like, how can we get the top 5 players or top 10 players at each position on your team? Like, that's what we want.
I would view this team in a very dangerous state right now, personally.
I completely
I
agree.
think this team is in a very dangerous position right now. Derrick Henry, we do not know how long it will last. I'm not claiming it will stop, but at some point it will have to. Brian Robinson could lose his job. Aaron Jones is a free agent at the age of 30. Terry and Mike are older players. That's okay. Kirk is and Keenan, these veterans that may or may not be important to offenses anymore. Tucker Kraft should break out, but really, there is a real lack of quality superstar or even star young players to build around here. And the fact that we don't have any first round pick this year to improve is a little bit concerning to me. I really don't want to sell CeeDee Lamb in a start 8, right? All heavy hitters lineup, but I don't see.
Yeah, you don't see how we can move forward without completely.
This is almost
rebuilding.
I think this is an in or out pathway. Because look, if he just keeps the roster as is, and he starts Herbert, Goff, Henry, and hopes one of those guys are a starter, and B-Rob or Aaron Jones, you have to hope. And then he starts CD, Terry, Kraft, and he only needs to start one more player. So he can start Mike Evans or Jennings or Kirk or Keenan, one of those guys. And this team is probably good enough to sneak into the playoffs, assuming there are no injuries. But as far as being a serious contender, not only this year and in future years, I don't think I would look at this team and say, yeah, that's a serious contender right there. And I think I would lean towards trying to blow this up. I want to hear the chat's opinion real fast. Do you guys think this guy is in a position to go out and compete? Because if you look at our pathways, he's either a Windows open or a 1 year. He's either a Windows open or a rebuild, honestly, which almost puts him as an in and out pathway. Maybe we can talk about both of those options for him.
And I think what might be best is, the way I'm seeing it, is in or out. You decide, or what you can do is wait in season to see how these guys pan out. Let's just say everything goes according to plan, and
everything has to go according to plan.
But the thing is, everything is only, if we really think about it, Brian Robinson. He has two starting quarterbacks.
Not really, to me. Tucker Kraft needs to take another step, right?
Sure.
Mike Evans needs to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Jones needs to find a job. Brian Robinson needs to retain his job. And Derrick Henry needs to not fall off a cliff at some point, which every running back does. I'm not claiming it will happen this year.
Yeah. But I guess, like, when I think of starters, and if all these guys stay healthy and if all these guys keep their job, the only worry, if we really think about it, is Brian Robinson. So, like, my perspective is, let him make the decision and we can sell high in season.
Okay. I think that is the pure definition of in and out then.
Yeah, because I completely agree. Like, I think he should rebuild, but it's best to rebuild at where all these guys are at their peak. So we don't want to sell Terry now. We don't want to sell Mike now. We don't want to sell Brian Robinson now. We don't even want to sell Derrick Henry now. We want to sell them when they're top 5, top 10 at their position and rebuild then. So, like, we can put this as a mixture.
So I'm saying in or out pathway. And just so you guys know, we will give you a brief, like, summary of what both of those pathways look like if that's your team. So for Hop here, we'll tell him, hey, at least for me, I'm probably leaning towards a rebuild. And I'll tell you what that would look like for me, how you would start that. But if you feel like you want to compete this year then here's the other options that you might be able to like. But really, what the hell can you do? You have the 303. So anyway, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. You have the 303 and a bunch of players that people don't want to trade for outside of CeeDee Lamb. So I think it's going to be tough, but we'll put it as in and out because Badaki is right. If everybody does stay healthy, you will make the playoffs and anything can happen. By the way, the chat, they gave their opinion. Styles says I would retool, full rebuild from BMAC. Connor says old players, very consistent in production. Greg says rebuild. Styles says actually I would rebuild. King Henry says full rebuild. And Chris,
this all makes sense.
This must be your team. This must be Chris. Is this your team, Chris? Let us know. And you can't really full transparency. CeeDee Lamb is a reason that you're going to be able to rebuild if that's the way you go. But we need to think more about how do I put myself in a position where I can actually compete, rather than moving on from CeeDee Lamb right now, because you're not even let's say in 2 years from now, you have all these assets. That's when you can think about tiering up to all these positions. In 2 years from now, you have 5 first-round picks. You have a young, let's say, Matthew Golden who's taken off, and you drafted Amari Hampton. I don't know, right? And then you can think of, well, let me package Hampton with one of these first, or let me package Golden with one of these first and start tiering up right now. What you need to do is get as many assets as you can to try and get into a rebuild, in my opinion, right? And this is Chris's brother's team, season. He says, by the way.
Okay, yeah. So, I just want to be clear, it's the rebuild, but selling them high at the right time.
I agree.
From my perspective. And
you're right.
I don't think we should just sell these. I just don't think we should sell these guys now just to get whatever value. You keep your players, sell them high in season. So I guess that's why it was you have the window to compete with the in or out.
Well, I agree with that sentiment unless you can get the value you're looking for, right? And to be fair, you look across the board and you look at all these names, I really can't find a true sell high right now, right? I mean, CeeDee Lamb last year, you could have gotten an absolute bag. This year, he's more of a buy than a sell. Herbert is more of a buy than a sell. Goff just lost his offensive coordinator. Derrick Henry is another year older. Same with Terry and Mike Evans. Maybe Terry is a sell high, if anyone. But we will talk about what you can sell them for. Otherwise, Badaki's right. You can wait until you go in season. But I mean, look, full transparency, these picks, we have no idea what you can do with these guys yet. I mean, just take the true best player available. Hope that you hit on a Bucky Irving, right? I mean, in as far as draft capital, I really don't think they're going to make any impact in any trades. Your only untouchable is CeeDee Lamb. I would argue that your 2026 and your 2027 are untouchable because we'll probably use CeeDee Lamb to try and start this rebuild. So again, 26 and 27 first, probably your only untouchables, because if this goes the way we want, then those will be valuable picks. As far as holds, I think Tucker Kraft makes a ton of sense as a hold. I think Justin Herbert makes a ton of sense as a hold.
Yeah.
As far as drops, I'm not sure there really are drops on this team.
I'm wondering if there's some pickups here. Let's see.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
Just little pickups, maybe. I see Jordan Travis right now. You can pick up as a QB3.
Or even you could actually pick up Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, because one of them might start.
You can pick up. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Aiden O'Connell, Garnell, Jordan, Jameis if he gets a job, hypothetically. I don't see any running backs.
I think Wandale's a good pickup. I'd probably drop Lockett for Wandale.
I see Malik Washington there.
Malik Washington is,
and by the way, I
see a nice one.
I see Chris Hop, and this is the brother.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go out and snipe him. That's unfair.
He said he's in the league. His name is Love Hurts.
Love Hurts. Let's see.
So he's number one. He's got the 101 this year. The league is pretty well evenly balanced, though.
Yeah, it is.
Daniels and Burrow is crazy, though.
Maybe we should ban Chris for the team review so it keeps it fair.
That's a joke. By the way, Chris, that's a joke.
I'm joking.
All right, so look. Overall team grade, I would probably put like a B minus. That feels generous. C plus.
I mean,
C plus.
Yeah, we could do C plus, C flat maybe.
Uh,
I would say C flat because he doesn't have any
that-
draft capital, and that's considering.
Yeah. Well, draft
I'll put C
capital
plus.
would be like a D plus. We need to change that though. Yeah, maybe I am being generous. Let's do a C. C flat. Yeah, I am being too generous. C minus. It's a C minus. Draft capital is a D plus.
It's not. It's not. Yeah. So I could technically add 4 add-ons, by the way, since we're doing 2 untouchables, 2 holds, and there's really no drops. I think I would rather prioritize the pickups.
Yeah. So.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, if you pick up someone, you have to drop someone though.
Well, I guess
But
we can
Wandale
just say, yeah,
makes sense.
Wandale,
And then
Wandale Robinson, and then I feel like the quarterbacks. I feel like Jordan Travis is someone
Yeah.
he should pick up.
yeah, Travis is worth picking up. Yeah.
Aiden O'Connell.
Okay,
O'Connell.
in season sells. Evans comes to mind. Derrick Henry comes to mind. You have to hope he has another similar season. Aaron Jones comes to mind. We'll tell you what you can sell them now if you could. I don't think you need to sell your quarterbacks. If you did, maybe Jared Goff in season. Kirk, Keenan, Lockett, if you can get literally anything for them. I actually don't even want to put Lockett. I just don't think I don't think you can get a 4th for Lockett.
No, I honestly think he's like, you can drop him for some of these people.
Yeah. I'll give you a rough guide here. Mike Evans, and again, these are all deals in season. Any first in any year. If he has a year like he had this year where, he's out there averaging 16, 17 plus points per game. If you can get a first from a contender in any year, you should take that. If you can't, then ideally what you'd want to do is aim for like an early second, and late second or early third, try and get two kind of shots at it. Derrick Henry, I'm confident you can get a first in season, especially if he's playing the way he was. I mean, a contender would be silly if like he's the difference between them winning a championship or not. Aaron Jones, I don't think you can get any second. If you can, great. Probably what you're going to be able to get is any third. Let's say 2/3. But I would prioritize Jones as a sell before free agency. It's a risk reward. Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. You
What do
sound
you
like
think?
you from fucking Michigan. I'm Miss Michigan. Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
Maybe it's
I don't know.
The Kansas accent came out there.
Could be. I feel like a mid first. And ideally, if you can get that in 2027. I don't think you can get more, but we can also, I think Goff, we can specifically look at teams. Kirk, I would say the same as Aaron Jones, honestly. Like, I think it's the same. Like, if you get a second, I actually don't even think that's possible. I think people would be disrespected if you sent that. So
Yeah, I think
maybe
you have to wait
try
for
for
Kirk.
2/3.
I think you have to wait for Kirk in season 2. Like, if they don't draft another guy,
Well, they've already said they're going to cut him.
fun. Oh, have they said that?
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Yeah, well, it's a rumor. My bad, I should say.
Okay. No, I remember them saying, oh, they've been trying to trade him, and he might be cut because of whatever.
Yeah.
So
Keenan
what
Allen,
you're saying.
Kirk, they're kind of in a similar boat. Let's talk about a tear down from CeeDee Lamb. This is really like integral to to start this rebuild. It is integral to get max value.
Like Chris, you like Jalen Hurts? Or sorry, you like CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah, who does he have? Well, I mean, so he's got like a Ladd or a Garrett Wilson tear down could make sense, but the issue is, Chris, I'm not sure how interested we should be in his future picks. That's the problem.
You probably don't want his future picks.
Yeah, it'd have to be like Ladd. I don't think it's gonna work. We just don't want his future first round picks. He's one of the best teams in the league. But if you went from CD, let's find some good tear down options. Like I think like a Chris Olave could really maximize your return. Like if you went Olave plus like 2 future firsts, we want like Olave. But to be honest, look at that team. I'm not sure I want to sell to that team either. It'd have to be like Olave, and they don't have their 26 first, so that team's not going to work. Let's keep looking. Maybe we can come back to that in a second. Drake London. How about like London, the 108? Something else.
Yeah, this is
London 108, and I mean, could you get a future first? I mean, can you add onto that like an Aaron Jones to make the package a little more appealing? Can we sell one of these guys this way? Can you add Aaron Jones there? Can you add instead, Keenan Allen? I'm not sure. Are one of these names, a name that it can be the reason why a deal gets done. Obviously, you don't include Derrick Henry or Mike Evans in one of those type of deals. Or
Do you
Jared
think
Goff.
we can get 2 first and London for CD though? Let me see what KTC.
I think
Obviously,
if you add a Keenan or a Jones, it's
heavy
possible.
hitter.
It's a late first, and the other one's going to be a late first. I mean, why would the CeeDee Lamb owner sell? Why would they not want to have at least 2 late firsts on top of London? That's the way I view it.
No, that's fair. I guess I'm just thinking because I know London and CD aren't too far off. Like
Really?
London aren't too far off in the sense of like tiers, like in rankings. So like, I'm pulling it up now. Give me a sec. CD Lamb's wide receiver 4, Drake London wide receiver 9. So it's not.
That
like,
feels
there's a
like
gap, but
significant to me.
I don't think it feels. Maybe it's just for me, but it doesn't feel that significant to me. But I think the talent for CD.
I think it's important to state that if he's not able to get these deals, then he holds.
Yes.
So that's fine.
Like for example,
if people
the only
feel that
reason why
way,
I'm saying that. Sorry, the only reason why I'm saying that is because on Keep Trade Cut, obviously they had to break it down like this. We're using this as a reference. CD's tier 4 and Drake London is tier 5. So you're tearing down 1 tier. That's why I initially thought it was.
I would really struggle. I just don't believe that any CeeDee Lamb owner is like, yeah, I'll take Drake London the 108 for CeeDee Lamb. I just don't think anyone would do that.
I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying I don't know if somebody would view it that way if they're going based off this.
And that's fine, but again, only sell this player if you can get the value that we want to spark a rebuild.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I think Roma Dunze is a really good option.
Yeah, that's I like Roma as well.
With this next team. So like in a Dunze 103, and I mean, could you get the 105 as well? I think that would be actually kind of a perfect deal. I don't know if that's possible. That is the best deal so far if you want to spark it. It might say a Dunze. Yeah, so this says a Dunze 103. I really doubt that our calculator says that because, again, KTC is notoriously awful
let's
at valuing top-end talent. So if I went calculator and I just kept expert consensus, this is a this is a 1 flex league. It is super flex. Okay. So we have your settings in there, and our calculator actually adjusts for settings. And because your league is so small, CeeDee Lamb, you're not going to be able to properly value CeeDee Lamb in a start 8 superflex league on KTC. It's not possible. They don't take into account how important top-end talent is. But if we use our calculator, what does it say? 103 in a Dunze. Where does it put us here? It says you lose, which makes sense. That's how we would feel. How about the 105? Mm-hmm. That says you slightly win. So that makes more sense. I think our calculator is a little bit...
Put the London one in, out of curiosity.
Okay. London 108 in a future first.
don't think it was the 108.
Let's just say 2027 mid to late first. It says it's a fair trade, which is exactly where my mind was.
Yeah, that's fair.
So those are some options there. I like the Adunze one the best. I don't hate the idea of like a Marvin, but I feel like you can extract more value in an Adunze trade.
Else. Yeah.
So I'm going to lean that way. I actually don't hate the idea of like a Rice deal where it's the same thing, like Rice 104, 107.
I like that as well.
You know, I think that's also going to give us some ammunition a little bit. And Rice is actually perfect for a rebuild because he will be recovering from the injury and dealing with a suspension. Ideally, what you want to do is target one of these teams at the bottom who you think is going to have good first-round picks in future seasons. So let's have a look at some of these guys down here. I mean, we need something intriguing. Like Ayuk, like this guy could work. And W. If we ask for like Ayuk, the 112, the 20, I think it'd have to be like Ayuk. They're 26 and 27 first.
You said teams 11 and 12 were the expansions.
And this is from an ANEW man. He could work because his future firsts are going to be terrible, and if he's willing to make that deal, you might end up getting like the 103 and 102 in future seasons. I don't know. I mean, looking at that team, it's a terrible team. CeeDee Lamb isn't going to fix it. I mean, could you add the 202 on top of that? Like, what is the limit here in your league? You'll know a little bit better. I mean, look, to extract the most out of CeeDee Lamb, I don't think these deals are crazy in a start 8. Seriously, in a start 8 with one flex spot, you could go a similar route with Jameson. Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
No, I'm saying the value is higher with CD, so I agree. In a start 8.
I like a McMillan to like really extract the most. We want McMillan. It's the same thing, like those 2 future firsts. But what's this guy's name at the bottom here? Deepa WBE.
Yeah.
Something like that. But we also want, I feel like we can extract more. Like, we should be able to ask for like the 111 and the 201 here too.
Yeah, I agree.
Something like that. You know, maybe you don't get the 201, but these are the type of deals if you don't get, okay, fair enough. If people don't want to pay that, first off, they should be willing to overpay in a start 8, where depth is not very important. Yeah. But if they aren't willing to overpay, that's fine. We can just hold on to CeeDee Lamb and sell him in season. But those are the type of deals where if you get those type of deals, we can pull the trigger. If not, we can wait till in season.
Agree.
And as far as like these other deals, hypothetically, I don't think it really matters to go into depth. I mean, you could maybe Derrick Henry. We can find a team that's competing that needs running back help, like Love Hurts, which is you, my friend.
You like Derrick Henry, Chris?
He's about to get Ashton Genty, so I don't think he's going to be interested.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
I actually don't think that's going to work out. So that probably doesn't work. But how about off the chain? They have Tyrone Tracy. I mean, could you find a way to get like the 105 and the 207 with like a Henry Evans? Maybe that doesn't even get you in the building. I don't know. 105 plus the 207, and then you can also send your 3. What do you have? The 303. Do you think that gets you in the building? I don't know. It's an idea.
It is an idea. Worth putting in.
I think those are like the most options that we can give there.
Yeah, and once again, just to reiterate, I mean, I think I kind of said it so many times. Sell-in season is really key here. For a lot of these guys, for you to extract the value, and I think you'll know when to sell, right? Like you'll know what's going to happen. And I think when I say sell-in season,
Hold on. Apparently your sound is weird. I don't know why that happens. It's strange. How about now? Go ahead.
hello, can you hear me?
Is it working better now? Let us know, guys.
Is that better? Let me know. Maybe because I keep moving my mic. Maybe it's my wire or something.
Okay, they say it sounds better now.
Basically what I was trying to say is like, yeah, you sell in season. Maybe you wait like the first 6 weeks and just wait to see what happens with your team. And if your team is, 1-5, 2-4, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You kind of go
I
from
think
there.
that's the pathway we take. I really love the Adunze deal that we talked about. I like the Ayuk deal that we talked about. Mike Evans and Derrick Henry. Again, you're looking for any first in a year for those guys. Yeah. Probably in season though, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. But Hop, we appreciate you.
Chris,
thank you so much.
If
for the
you have
support.
any questions that we didn't answer, or any questions he wants answered, or whatever, we're happy to answer those questions. By the way, so please let us know.
Yeah. But I'll see if Chris says anything. But as always, you'll receive your customized playbook within 72 hours on the Flock Fantasy Message System, with all the information that we drew up here for you today. But we really appreciate you and the support, man. Thank you so much. And
Absolutely.
take down your brother. Take him down.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to figure out a deal with them, but I don't. Like, he just has picks that are kind of out of range. Like the 101 is going to be impossible to acquire.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think it makes sense for him to have his brother's future picks, because his team is very good, especially if he sends him CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I agree.
It'd have to be like, yeah, I just don't think a deal is out there for you guys. Your teams are just so
okay.
opposite. But Chris, let me know, Chris, if there's anything that we didn't cover enough. But like what Doctor said, your playbook is going to be sent within 72 hours of us completing this review today. And we appreciate everybody for being out there with us. And if you're out there and you want your team reviewed, you want your team playbook, customized game plan for your offseason, right? Customized trade targets, what to do with your holds or drops, and what to do with your draft capital. Become a land member annually, Mother Flocker member with the code LAND, or you can buy one on the Flock store, regardless of what promo code you use. And if you want it live, just get that live tier. Links are in the pinned comment of the chat. I can also put them in the chat again in case you can't see the pinned comment. So I'll put that there. Again, best bang for your buck is becoming a yearly Mother Flocker member with code LAND.
That is right.
Of course, you get the team playbook. You also get our rookie report, free trade question vouchers, unlock our complete rankings, all premium tools and databases on the website. And of course, you're supporting what we're doing. So we appreciate you big time. All right, let's get to the next team here, which is Kirk Hart 89.
Kirk Hart 89. Thank you so much for the support. Seeing this is a 1 quarterback, 10 team, start 8. So that's a meat and potatoes here. Just one off of heavy hitters that we just had earlier. And let's have a look at your team.
Starting
your team
lineup,
name
by the way, he's talking about
lineup.
Just when you say meat and potatoes, I don't know if everyone knows what it means, so I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You're currently ranked 1, first out of 10, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And let's have a look at your team here. Jay Daniels, Kyler Murray, phenomenal quarterback room. Don't worry about that. HN, CMC, Tyrone, Tracy, and the list goes on. Great running back room as well. At the wide receiver position, you can start up to 4 wide receivers and 4 running backs. CeeDee, Nico, Garrett, Ayuk, Tyreek, Reed, Downs, Deontay. I mean, the list goes on. Great wide receiver room as well. Mark Andrews, George Kittle, Tucker Kraft. Phenomenal tight end room as well, with no 2025 or 2026 picks, essentially. I wonder if you have your 27 picks. And I didn't read the context here, but I'll read that now. It says, I've been trying to upgrade my wide receiver room. I would like to move my depth to more solid assets. Chase and Jefferson are not available. I have talked for Amon-Ra, Puka, and AJ. I don't think anything will happen until after our rookie draft, and that's the final week of preseason.
Keep trade cut. Maybe he's just saying like, what do you think about the team? Yeah. You're gonna find it difficult, I think, to tier up without draft capital. What people are gonna want is they're gonna want Ayuk in a future pick, Wilson in a future pick, Tracy in a future pick. So to not have that draft capital, I think you'll find it a little bit difficult to tier up. Just my humble opinion. But we can think of some ideas. The starting lineup right now is Daniels, Achane, McCaffrey, Lamb, Collins, Andrews or Kittle, and then he has 2 more spots left where you would fill with Wilson and Tyreek, or Wilson Ayuk, or Wilson Reed, or Wilson Tracy. But it's a very good starting lineup. I mean, overall team grade, it's a great mix of like youth and veterans. Very deep at all positions as well. I would put like A-.
Yeah, 100%. I was right there with you. A-. Obviously, draft capital is probably like
that's where he falls off a little bit, is the lack of really any draft capital at all. Draft capital grade, I mean, is got to be an F. We don't see your 2027 first round picks, but they might be there. But it's got to be an F right now with what we have available to us. But again, the overall team is an A, right? It's a good team.
Yeah, no question. You're clearly a contender, no doubt about it. Just really trying to figure out how we can make this a little bit better.
This must be Kirk here. So Kirk, do you have your 2027 picks? Because maybe that F turns into like a D+ or something if you have your 2027 picks. But so you're saying you have a pick in 2027, you don't have your pick.
So he doesn't have 27 picks. So you don't have a pick for the next 3 years, essentially.
So you don't have any first round pick in the next 3 years. Is that right? Because it's going to be very tough to tier up without picks. That's what people want. If they're tearing down, they want draft capital. Okay, so you'll put the F on the draft capital grade, but the team grade is A-. It's a very good team, and I mean, if this isn't the definition of Windows open, is it not? I mean, it's like a young Windows open though. I guess contender. It's a contender.
Yeah, I would say even though he doesn't have his picks, he has enough depth here to be a contender.
Yeah. Well, he definitely is. I was just wondering, like, Windows open because there's no benefit to your future picks, but
sure.
I think here's the problem. The players that you want to tier up from, nobody is confident in right now. And when I say that, I mean McCaffrey after an injury-riddled season, Tracy, a late-round pick that people are wondering if he'll keep his job or not through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Wilson, severely underperformed based off expectations. Severely is maybe an exaggeration. Ayuk had the contract, but tore his ACL. Tyreek Hill had his worst season to date. Jaden Reed started off hot, but left a terrible taste in people's mouths. Josh Downs, good player stuck in a shit situation. Mark Andrews was up and down. So all the players that you want to use in a tier up are really not good players to trade right now. In fact, I'd go out on a limb and say you're probably best off holding and then trading in season when some of these guys really like return their value. Ayuk's a top 15 guy the first 5 weeks. Tyreek Hill's a wide receiver 4 overall if that happens. You know, like hypothetically, you package these guys together and tier up. Right now, I don't think you're in a position where you don't really have the power because you don't want to tier up from Nico. You want to play Nico. You don't want to tier up from CD. You want to play CD. You don't want to tier up from Devon Achane. You want to play him and Jaden Daniels. So I think you're in a little bit of a peculiar situation here. And I will maybe struggle to know what to do with this, but I want to think it through. At the 306, just true BPA, I mean, you could throw that into pretty much any deal. It's going to have no weight, though.
Yeah, I'm just going...
I feel like if you want to tier up, Tyreek Hill, Jaden Reed, Josh Downs are not going to get you in a building. You almost have to use Wilson... Kittle,
and Cap,
Wilson, Ayuk.
At any point in time.
You know?
I think it has to be either Kittle Andrews, or you tier down from one of CD or Nico, which we don't want to do. That's how I'm seeing this. I think we keep Jaden Daniels, we keep CD, we keep Nico, and then for you to tier up, I feel like it just depends. Like if you are like I'm on the fence with CMC. I don't want him on my team if I'm contending. It just depends on how you view him.
I definitely want him on my team, especially if I have no picks in the next 3 years.
No, like in this team, this makes sense. But I'm saying in the sense of somebody else buying CMC, that they might feel some type of way. So I think he actually
you're saying that the consensus is very different. You like him, or you don't like him. I do as a buy. So
exactly. So
the
like,
community
it might be
will be up and down. But
exactly.
that's pretty much every player outside of CD, Nico, HN, Jaden Daniels on this team.
100%, and that's exactly what I would do. Like I would, and Styles brings a good thing, which I was going to go to, is packaging Ayuk and Tyreek. To see who you can go and get.
I think
I don't know about that is, but like
I think that is possible in season, but I really don't think Ayuk and Tyreek have much trade appeal right now in a big tier up. I could be wrong. But I don't think you're going to be able to package Ayuk, Tyreek, and a tight end even for a Drake London. You know? I don't know. I don't think it's possible right now. Could I be misreading it? I think Wilson has to be in the deal.
Wilson does have to be in the deal, but like...
And I think Wilson can improve his value. That's why I hate doing it.
That's what I'm thinking as well. I'm just...
Look,
I think the best...
I think Kittle and Wilson gives us a baseline. Let's find a team that needs tight end. Okay? And that's competing. So, for example, those bottom 3 teams all look tight end needy. This could actually work. Jefferson's not available, he already said. So, there's actually nothing to talk about with that team. I'm not sure. Ladd is in the same tier as Garrett. And we're not going to do that's just not a clear tier up. Brian Thomas, he has David Njoku. Can we get Brian Thomas for this package? What does the chat think? Is this possible? Does it start a conversation? I believe it doesn't get the door slammed in your face at all. Especially for a team that's tight and needy. I think it gets you in the building. I mean, KTC says it's even. I doubt our trade calculator would say it's even. I think our trade calculator would say Brian Thomas wins. But that feels like what you'd have to do. Now, I could be completely off, and this is maybe hopium, but I still think Garrett Wilson can have a breakout season where he finishes like top 5. I still think that's possible with the right quarterback there. And Devontae Adams is about to move on. Then you have to ask yourself,
I think it's just the quarterback play. I think that's the biggest question.
Well, what if they do actually end up like with a Shador Sanders? I could totally see Garrett Wilson being a top 10 finish this year. I think the talent is really not the question with Garrett. So I find it tough to find a true tier up that I'm happy with here. But I think this is a low risk one. I mean, do you need to throw in the 306? That means absolutely nothing to us. So if we do to get it done, we will. I mean, he has neighbors. Can we give him Wilson, Kittle? Can we add... Where are we again?
Team 1.
Can we add Josh Downs? I don't know. I really don't think you're... I don't think you're going to be in a position where these guys are very interested. I would send the Thomas deal first. But, yeah, this is a very, very unique team. In fact, I would go out on a limb and say I don't think we've had a team like this in quite a while. And the reason I say that is because I get wanting to tier up from all these players in a start 8, but the players you want to tier up with have no power and you have no future first-round picks. This would be a much easier ordeal if we had a future first and we could say, let's attach that future first to Garrett Wilson. We have some power. I kind of feel like all these names, they don't have much power in a tier up. Literally, all the names I'm highlighting right now, I just don't think they're going to give you much power in a tier up. you know? So
Yeah.
you almost have to use Wilson to get into the building. But I don't even want to give up on Garrett Wilson. So again, we're just telling you the ideas that could maybe start some conversations. But just know that we're a little bit hesitant, you know. AJ Brown actually isn't a bad buy for a team like this, right? AJ Brown might be more realistic because he's an aging guy. But what about an AJ Brown for? Do you think Tyreek and Reed get you in the building?
I would think so.
You think so? I think it depends on if that guy is into Jaden Reed or not.
Yeah, I would definitely think so.
He doesn't like Reed. Okay. Well, then we would have to. I don't want to use Ayuk in that deal. This is the problem. What about Kittle? Tyreek Hill and Kittle? That could get you in the building. Then you would still have Andrews and Kraft. Maybe as a contender, you'd rather send Mark Andrews because, Kittle's kind of in his prime right now. And Andrews is still, and there's some talks about Andrews may or may not be moving on from the team. We don't know.
Well, it's the same thing with George Kittle. I think
I don't think Kittle's going to go anywhere. I think it's Debo. I haven't heard Kittle being moved on from. Have you?
There was reports going into last year of they need to figure out who's going to be cut, and Kittle could be the guy who's going to be the odd man out. So they extended Ayuk, and then know if they're going to keep Kittle or Debo.
I think the way I read it is they made that decision with Debo.
Says I do have CMC, Ayuk, Kittle. Is that too heavy on 49ers?
It's a good offense when these guys are healthy. So no, not necessarily. But all I'll say is I don't care which one you send here.
Yeah,
get AJ Brown.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of nervous we could be selling low on Tyreek Hill though. See, this is the problem across the board with this team right now. It's so tough.
I think Cap. I think if you want to tear up genuinely, you have to wait in season.
What about this guy's wide receiver room isn't the greatest. A Brock Bowers is pretty much impossible to buy, but what about a Wilson, Andrews, Reed for Brock Bowers or something?
Let's see.
And then you can go out and use Kittle in a different deal as well. You're definitely limited. I think this is tough for sure. I almost feel like he needs. I'll be honest. My honest feedback is I probably would hold and wait for some of these guys to recover their value and then sell in season. That's my honest feedback. He said he's had. What is the conversation you've had around Amon? I want to know the deals. What are the deals you've had around Amon-Ra, Puka, and AJ Brown? What are those deals currently at? What do those owners want? Because you've already had these conversations. I almost wonder if we can just be a good guide as far as shaping that deal, which is already in motion, potentially.
Yeah. Gosh, Ayuk, Tyreek Hill. So what's going to happen here is that your untouchable is going to be Jaden Daniels, CeeDee Lamb. Hold's going to be Brandon Ayuk, Tyreek Hill, Jaden Reed, and I'm going to put Garrett Wilson since he can recover his value in season, and that's kind of what we've been talking about with all four of those wide receivers. And then obviously your drops would be Will Shipley and Keaton Mitchell there.
Well, I'd rather drop. I'd rather keep Mitchell. Shipley, I don't care if we keep or drop, but I think Burton is an easier drop than.
Sure, we can drop Jermaine Burton. He says Wilson, Reed, Ayuk got shut down for both Amon-Ra and Puka. Offered Ayuk, Reed, and Tracy for Brown.
Yeah, and full transparency, that's a pretty good offer, honestly. Me as someone who still thinks Garrett Wilson can have very good seasons, that's actually not a bad offer at all. a Wilson, an Ayuk, a Reed. But we wouldn't be able to offer much more than that.
No, there's no way.
He offered Ayuk, Reed, and Tracy for AJ Brown, and he got shut down. So
what was the one that you drew up just then?
I drew up Tyreek,
Hill,
Andrews, or Kittle in the 306. So surely that's going to get shut down. I mean, shoot, we can offer Josh Downs as well in this deal. You know, if that gets it over the top. But the more we talk about this, he said also offered Achane and Wilson for Amon-Ra. I'm so glad they didn't accept that. I'm so glad they did not accept that. That would have been a really bad move for this team, I think. I mean, this team needs Devon Achane. My friend, you cannot move Devon Achane. You can't move any of these running backs. In fact, what you might want to do... Yeah, I mean, no. I really think this team is more of a hold and wait until in season. I think you could be in a position where the moves that you make, you feel a need to do something because of the offseason, and then you might regret it later on. That's my honest feedback with this team.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't think we ever had a team where we actually told you to hold everyone.
Almost feels like the best move for him, though. Yeah, it's a weird one. Is there any quarterback needy teams? That's the last thing I can think of. It's a 10 team. I mean, probably not.
That's the thing. It's a 10 team, and you just look at the worst team has Jared Goff, 2, and Anthony Richardson. According to the rankings,
Wilson and Achane. If that hit my inbox, and I had Amon-Ra, I would sell Amon-Ra so fast as a contender. And I love Amon-Ra, but I would not be able to say no to that deal.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad it didn't work out personally. I don't know if you became a yearly member or not, Kirk Hart, but you can come back with the trade questions as well on the site, and we'll vet all of them with you if you want as you go. Honestly, dude, I really think the best move for this team is to hold until in season. You know, we weren't able to come up with as many deals as we normally do. I'm fine with all 4 of these if they end up panning out, but yeah, I'll just say, like, look, I think these players can recover value in season, and then you can tier up with them, right? So names like Garrett Wilson we talked about, Brandon Ayuk we talked about, Tyreek Hill we talked about, Mark Andrews. Was there another names that that we talked about? I'm not remembering off the top of my head. I think those are the main names.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Jaden Reed even potentially. But right now you have all the black sheep.
You sheeping, brother.
I'm sorry, brother.
Yeah,
he says I need to cut 4 players. Okay, so if he needs to cut 4, I would be cutting Burton, Shipley, and again, assuming you need to make space. Burton, Shipley. I don't really want to drop Baker, but I will if I need to. And if I need to make space, I'm also willing to drop Corley. I'd rather hold him, but if I need to make space, I drop him.
Yeah, I'm there.
I want to give Captain Kirk a second here to ask any questions that he didn't get answered. Sorry, this wasn't like the most detailed. I feel like we gave a lot of detail. There's just not as many trades to actually come up with for a team like this. So I want to make sure you feel good about this. I want to make sure you feel like you got good value. So please let us know if there's anything we didn't cover well enough.
We'll wait for him. And as you're typing questions, obviously, Cap, thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate you. You will be receiving your playbook within 72 hours with all the updated information of your team and all the information we kind of spoke about here today. Once again, sorry so much that we don't have as much in-depth details with all the information.
Yeah.
Like we see from other trade offers specifically. But
no, but
honestly,
low key
at the same time.
Low key, I honestly think this happens so often. So often we get messages or people on the site who are like, I made this trade And we're like, why? And then they end up regretting it like a month later. And they're trading because they feel like they need to. Trades are going down in their league. It's the off season. We all like trading. And they're not really trading out of like a way to improve their team. They're trading because it's fun. But a lot of times when you get into that zone, you really end up regretting it at the end of the day. And I think this is one of those teams where if you trade too much, you're probably going to end up regretting it, you know?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But once again, thank you so much for the support.
Yeah, I agree with Zoinks there. Scribble says, who turned down Wilson and Achan for Amon-Ra? Who is this person? Call them out. Which is hilarious and not a bad point, honestly. Appreciate you, Captain Kirk. I did see Chris who came back. He says, I've tried to find a deal for us where he tiers up at quarterback and I tier up at wide receiver, but I wasn't sure how to make that work. And the only issue with that, Chris, is going back to that team, is he doesn't need to think about that right now. He needs to think about a full reset. That's the only issue with that type of structure. We do have Zoinks next. But if you guys are out there and you are watching this and you want to know how to get your team playbook, I mean, you might be saying, all right, you're saying team playbook. Well, what is a team playbook? It's a customized game plan for your offseason, right? Customized trade targets, understanding what is really valuable in your league, what to do with your draft capital. Use the promo code LAND, become an annual Mother Flocker member, or you can sign up for a team playbook through the Flock store. Just choose that live tier if you want it live. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Flockfantasy.com/land. Again, flockfantasy.com/land, the best place to support us to get your team playbook. When you become that annual member, you also get our 2025 rookie report, free trade question vouchers. You unlock our complete rankings, databases, tools, and of course, you're supporting us. You're keeping the lights on. We appreciate you big time. Let's go ahead and get to Zoinks. I think he is with us. He is. I assume this is him. He says, forgot to proofread my content. Apparently wanted to emphasize I took fourth. Okay. Which I'm excited to read that now because I'm sure there's some.
I'm probably going to read it twice, and I've done that multiple times. You should hear me read back. I'm a terrible reader, but I'm reading.
You're not dyslexic, are you? Or are you dyslexic? Sometimes I don't know if we've had this conversation.
I'm not diagnosed dyslexic, but I think I am dyslexic. I haven't officially.
You think if you
somewhere.
went, they would be like, yeah.
No question.
Okay,
no question.
Right.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that.
There's no point of going if I already know. Anyways.
Well, they could maybe help you, but.
They could help me, but I think I'm perfect the way I am. That's what Mama told me.
I believe in Mama. All right, let's go to this next one. It is, by the way.
Oh, by the way, you were gonna say?
I was gonna say, by the way, this is a middle ground, start 10,
yes.
super flex, so it's a middle ground starting lineup. Go ahead, sorry.
And it's a full point tight end premium, by the way. Keep
that is important. Okay.
That is important. Super flex, tiered PPR. Okay, so you're tiering. Obviously to break it down.
Well,
half point for the running backs, one wide receiver is pretty normal. Technically, it's not.
Well, no, that is tiered, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say you're saying half point for tight end, then on here it says full point. Maybe he can't put.
But you see, it's a half PPR league. That's their baseline. That's why it says a full point premium.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
He's just saying it is tiered.
Yeah. That makes sense. Anyways, traded my 26th first for Chuba to solidify my running back room. Finished fourth last year. On the fence about what to do with the 105. Feeling like trading back a few is the play because I love depth. Obviously, you finished fourth last year. Appreciate your hard work. Okay, so you're currently ranked first out of 12.
Where did he finish last year?
I think he finished fourth.
I'm totally kidding. It's just a joke.
I know. I get where you were going.
What do you think about the trade? He traded his first for Chuba. I think he really needs to be a good team for us to like that deal. We like sending a late first in 2025, but that's because we know it's already a late first. So we'll have to look at the team.
I think it just depends on his team in general. Like if you're telling me he has 2 running backs already, there's no point of doing that for Chuba. But if he only had one, needed a running back, or if he had a first in 25, what was the point? But let's have a look at this team.
He is ranked first.
He is ranked first. And sorry, I just closed. Okay, here we go. You are ranked first, and you finished fourth last year, And your starting quarterbacks are Bo Nix, Justin Herbert with Malik Willis, and the list goes on. So good starting quarterback room, which is great. Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Chuba Hubbard, Travis Etienne, Blake Corum. So instantly, my mind goes to, why'd you trade for Chuba if you had Jahmyr and Josh Jacobs?
Yeah,
for
I think we could have held that pick for flexibility personally.
Exactly.
But
we could have held
it will
pick.
improve his flex, to be fair.
Right. 100%. I completely agree. So, like, improving the flex is great. Would we have done that knowing you had Jahmyr and Jacobs? Probably not. At the wide receiver position, Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Chris Olave, Jalen McMillan, Keon Coleman, Jalen Coker, and the list goes on.
Trey McBride, it's a good team.
Which Trey McBride?
I mean, good draft capital. He has a high-level pick this year. A lot of those thirds, I think, if we can package to get up anywhere, I'd be willing to use. No first next year, but he has 3 seconds. And let us know if you have your first in 2027, by the way. So it says, I actually traded Worthy for the 105 after the fact. I forgot I had sent it and the dude accepted it. Well, honestly, I would definitely accept that trade as well. I like Worthy, and I do think he's going to be a good player, but I think at best he's Jordan Addison. He's not going to be, in my estimation at least, like a top 10 dynasty wide receiver ever. And that's not to throw shade at Jordan Addison. I just don't think like these guys are in a position, both on their team personnel and what they're able to offer right now, to be like these top 10 dynasty receivers. So I think all of us would say, yes, give me the 105 over Xavier Worthy right now, even though we like Worthy. So think about a starting lineup right now, Badaki. It would be Nix, Herbert, Gibbs, Jacobs, Neighbors, London, McBride. And then we can flex 3 names, which would be probably Chuba, Olave, McMillan. Maybe if Senate breaks out or something.
Yeah, it's still with Keon Coleman, Jalen Coker in the wings there.
Etienne could contribute if Blake Corum gets a role. So there's decent depth. Would have liked a better quarterback 3 on a roster like this, but having Trey McBride with that premium is going to be pretty big too. I like that. In fact, I wouldn't say McBride is like, you could put McBride as an untouchable in this format, right? Obviously, Gibbs and Neighbors are your obvious untouchables. We don't want to move those guys, especially with our depth, and we don't need to tear down. We're competing. But McBride is also in that category. You don't move McBride unless you're getting Bowers in a league like this. As far as your holds, to me, names that I like holding right now are like Etienne, Olave, McMillan, Sinnott. I like all those as strong holds. If you need to drop anyone, I think Damian Pierce is droppable. Kamani Vidal is definitely droppable. I would say Wicks, but without Watson for an entire year, I'm curious if they draft someone or not. But overall team grade, it's a very good team. I wish we had a little bit more support at wide receiver and quarterback 3. That's it. We do have a pick to make some impact there. I'm leaning
B plus.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where I'm at.
Perfect. It's not far off from an A.
No. And I think that I would say the draft capital might be the same.
Yeah. Well, no first next year. I would more lean towards a C plus. Because while there's a lot of capital, most of the time these picks don't really make an impact for us. But it's a very good team. And I mean, would this not be a young windows open? No first next year. I think that's what I would call this pathway. Young windows open. We don't trade our young players for vets to win, but we also make deals to try and win this year because we don't benefit at all from our first round pick next year.
No. Sorry, give me a second. I got to get the door. Give me a second.
All right, I'm going to call this a young windows open. Even though it says older team, that's not exactly the scenario here. This is a younger team, but we're taking advantage now because you don't have your first in 2026. Does that make sense? Hopefully that clarifies. Because it's not an older team necessarily. In fact, it's a young team. That's why I was specific. Young windows open. Maybe we should get rid of that on the graphic. Take advantage now is maybe the better thing to say. But I like this team a lot. I really do. At the 105, you are positioned well to go running back or wide receiver. You could also trade that 105 for a quarterback like a Michael Penix. I think you need more help at wide receiver or flex, but we can look at our options. But yeah, you have a good amount of draft capital this year. If you're going to stick and pick, you're in this range where, you know, McMillan is probably gone, but you're in this big old tier, right? If Burden goes first round, he's an option. If these running backs get, you know, early second round capital, they're an option. Technically, Cam and Sanders are, and Igbuka is a really safe pick. Yeah, honestly, like Igbuka is a very safe pick for this roster. You almost need a flex like Igbuka here. At the 208, kind of best player available left over from these names. I don't think Golden would still be available, but you know, you could afford to add like a Royals if he falls and he has good draft capital. Honestly, like Trey Harris is a good name as well to kind of bring up in this range as well. You know, Jack Besh. A lot of running backs in this range, though. And then kind of from then on out, it's true BPA. Is there a third-round running back available, right? It's a second-round wide receiver on the board. I would rather trade some of these picks for vets or tier-ups. Not the 105. Well, what could we get for the 105? Now that I'm thinking about this.
Yeah, let me have a look.
I wonder what wide receiver is 105 range. Like,
I'm seeing...
do you think Garrett Wilson is possible?
I'm seeing AJ Brown.
Wilson shouldn't be far off that then.
AJ Brown just a little bit. Let me see Garrett Wilson. I think they're kind of both the same. Oh, he got disconnected.
Yeah, sorry about that. Give me a second. Hold on. Sorry, guys. My computer does this really cool thing where it just completely disconnects all USB or Bluetooth. Okay, I think we're back. Can you guys hear Badaki? Talk for us, Badaki.
Hello. Let me know.
Can y'all hear him?
Yeah, they can hear me.
Okay, great.
So names I'm seeing is AJ Brown. You, according to KTC, you have to give a little bit more.
Okay.
But like AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, you have to give a little bit more. But an even trade on KTC are names like T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, Rome.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think Garrett Wilson's kind of perfect if we can get into that range. You can offer it straight up, but what you can also do is attach like the 301, the 30, like all those third round picks, you know. And when we put these trades out there, we're kind of putting them in order of preference, so you can kind of consider them counters, you know. And if we need to kind of add even more ammunition, like Coker's a really solid name to sell in a tier up for a league like this, because he could break out, but he's also one of those names that you can kind of use to get a player you really want established. So those are like the kind of ranges. Rice, you know, I do like Rice, but I don't know about for this team because of the injury and the suspension he's going to face. You know what I mean? I love Rice as a buy, but I almost love him as a buy for like a rebuilder.
I think like he has enough with Rice's suspension to hold him for the 5 games, hypothetically. Like,
yeah,
sure,
that's fair.
he trades the 105 away, but he still has Chris Olave and Jalen McMillan that he can start, and Chuba Hubbard, and then the Rice can just slot in.
Where is Rice ranked right now on KTC? He's 17. I mean, do you have more wiggle? Who has Rice?
That's how I'm seeing the whole
Rice is Mr. Sparkle Pants. Well, he has both of those guys. Could you do like a Rice, but then get the 110? Like my idea would be like the 105. We'll send you the 208 and the 301, and we want Rice in the 110. Like something like that would really make me lean that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that I would do. So you get Rice, you still have wiggle room, and then the 105.
Yeah. Glad to have you here, Steven, by the way. Appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah, it's
had
awesome.
fun reviewing the team yesterday. And yeah, if you can, we said this earlier, but I'd be shocked if most leagues you could get the 105 for Worthy. But in this league, Zoinks was able to, and we would definitely prefer that. Yeah, exactly. Like, what's up, Mark? Welcome in. Exactly.
What's
you can
happening,
throw
brother?
in these 26 seconds. Like,
hear
you know, like, so they counter and they want another 26 second from you or something. Like, you can make these type of deals work. This is just more of a baseline. But yeah, I agree with you as well in the sense of like, use any of those seconds to make something like this kind of happen as well in a counter.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I like that deal a lot,
Rice one
honestly.
feels good. Yeah, that Rice one feels good for me.
I almost want to get like a Waddle. Not for the 105, but I almost feel like Waddle's a good
for those
fit
seconds.
for this team.
Yeah, for those seconds, or the seconds or thirds at 208, those 301s.
Can you send those 3 future seconds and like the 301 for Jalen Waddle? Like, just throw some kind of crazy deal out there right now. Waddle is pretty affordable. But yeah, we talked about Garrett Wilson. We talked about Rashee Rice. AJ Brown would probably fit this team pretty well, actually. What do you think?
I think it'll fit. I think it'll fit the team. I'm happy with the same package. The same package that we had for either Garrett Wilson,
yeah. I think,
and just replace that with AJ Brown.
I think you're right. Like, literally any of these, I think, make a lot of sense for both of these names. Just have to hope they throw a little bit more. I prefer the Garrett Wilson side just because he's younger and
Yeah.
I think he has a chance to break out still and improve his value. I think AJ, you'll buy him and he'll help you get into the playoffs and maybe win, but I don't think he's going to improve his value. You know, that's my only hesitancy.
Yeah, I think
This
the other
team,
name
like,
might be
Tyreek Hill is actually a pretty good. Like, would you send like the 208 for a Tyreek?
Yeah, I mean, I
Plus
was
something?
thinking, yeah, 100%. I also thought of like, that's where I was going down the line. Like, if you just wanted to add some more people, and let's say you don't use that 208, can you use a 208 and to get names like, I mean, I doubt you can because these guys are all buy lows right now. But like, I think of the Jaden Reeds, I think of the Chris Godwins, I think of the Jacoby Myers, like names. Like, those are the guys that I'm thinking of just to have more depth.
Right.
Or you can just go with the Flyers with the rookie picks, right? Like Deebo Samuel. Like, what's Deebo valued right now?
Right. I don't know. That's a good question.
Because that's how
Yeah,
I'm thinking about using that
flyer on it,
208. Yeah, just kind of see what happens. Like, these guys aren't going to make or break your team, but at least you have a veteran depth to continue to build around.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind that. Marvin Harrison's probably not possible. T. Higgins, I don't mind.
T. Higgins for
I'm
the
just-
105.
What do you think?
I think I need security. I think I need I don't want it with the long-term contract or with the franchise tag.
I think they're gonna focus on the long-term one though.
On the long term, and I don't think his value is going to rise with the long-term contract extension. But I think if they don't re-sign
it
him,
could.
my thought process is if they don't re-sign him, where does he go the year after? And you just spent the 105. Like, would you have rather had T. Higgins locked in with Joe Burrow for the next 3 to 4 years, or Emeka and Buka?
What if we play this hypothetical as well? Because you're right. There's 2 coins to it, though. The opposite side of that coin is, what if he signs a 4-year deal in Cincinnati? You're not getting him for the 105.
Well, I don't think he's going higher than like how much higher can he go?
I think people put him in London range if he signs a long-term deal. I mean, he was like averaging 18 points per game this year.
Let me see. So if you're putting him London range according to KTC's rankings, you will take T over the lads, the AJ Browns, the JSNs, the Martin Harrisons.
I don't think it's crazy.
I don't think it's crazy. I think people would still rather have the younger player.
I don't think you can get the 105 for any of those names that you just mentioned. Or you can't get those names for the 105. You can't send the 105 and get any single one of those names you just mentioned.
For London, for Marvin, no. For JSN. I
No.
feel like we saw JSN the other day. I feel like we saw Lad up there. Anyways.
I'd be shocked if you can get Lad or JSN for the 105.
I don't think he's going to.
Shocked.
If he's going to go, like, let's just say tomorrow he signs, he's wide receiver 16 right now. I think at max he goes wide receiver 13.
Sure, but the 105 is no longer on the table. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Sure.
For me, at least, I don't think you can send the 105 anymore for Higgins if he signs a deal.
Which is fair. I understand what you're saying.
Now, we've talked a lot about like receiver. I don't think he needs to look at running back. The only other thing is like quarterback 3 could use a look. I almost want to go veteran route and like a cheap Justin Fields route, like 208 plus the 301. Would you like send that for like a Justin Fields type of range? You know, we have the picks to play around with.
Gosh, there's no one on waiver wires. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is on waivers. Is he with the Chiefs next year?
He is a free agent, so hard to say. Would you spend that for like Geno Smith? I think that would be a pretty good quarterback 3 for you as well, with the 208 and 301 for Geno Smith type of range. Yeah, something to, or even A-Rich. If A-Rich is looking like a buy, I mean, based off what we saw in today's mock draft, it's funny he went from one of our biggest sells to now maybe a potential buy. But you send like literally all those thirds. You know, I mean, can you also send Coker or Sinnott or something? I don't know. You know. So this is the game plan I would use this offseason, right?
Yeah, I think this is a good plan.
And then these picks, obviously, you just use in packages. And the last thing I'll say as well is, like, if you can package literally all of these picks and turn that into, like, the 201 to the 204, I think it's worth it. You know?
Yeah, makes sense.
And you can oftentimes do that in a draft if people want to tear down. But anyway, I really love the Garrett Wilson deal. Also really love the Rice deal that we came up with. Is there one in particular you wanted to highlight? Maybe we do one of these quarterbacks as well.
Yeah, one of the quarterbacks giving some variety there.
Which one do you like the most?
Let's do the Fields, the younger player. And what was the other one? We had Garrett Wilson, Rice. Let's do AJ Brown.
Okay, yeah. We'll do the Coker one.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
That's the direction we would take. Again, I know it says, I think we need to slightly adjust this Windows Open graphic, Benaki, because I was telling him earlier, like, it's a young Windows Open, and those do exist when they don't have their first in a future year. We kind of need to take out older team and just say, take advantage, you know, of the year in front of you or something, you know, that way it's because it kind of like the Windows Open does go both ways for a young and an older team, depending on the context,
but we appreciate you, Zonk. Let us know if you have any other questions, man. As always, you'll be receiving your customized playbook on the Flock Fantasy Master System within 72 hours with everything that we drew up here for you today. Thank you so much. We'll leave the floor to you if you have any last minute questions, and we appreciate the support, man. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you big time, my friend. He says, all good over here. Time to go quarterback and wide receiver hunting, which we love to see. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for the support. Yeah. And hopefully we'll see you back here for a different team at some point.
Yeah.
All right. I originally wanted to do Mondo. It's so late. Is Mondo in the chat? If he is, I'll honor that and we'll do it. if Mondo isn't here, we'll probably hold him until tomorrow.
Yeah, we gotta.
It's almost 2 p.m. here. I need to eat some lunch.
Do this trade question. Last thing, maybe we'll close.
We'll wait and see if Mondo's in the chat or not.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a trade question, and yeah, you guys can ask us trade questions on the Flock site, by the way. If you don't have a free account, flockfantasy.com/land, and then you can look at all the options there on the site. But it looks like they would be sending away Purdy, McCarthy, Tracy, JSN. That's one hell of a haul. For the 101, May, I'm not even going to think about the mid-second. It shouldn't hold weight in a conversation like this. I mean, you prefer Tracy over mid-second. This feels like too much to give, in my opinion, for the 101. Purdy, if Purdy gets extended, his value will go up or maintain. If McCarthy starts, his value will go up or maintain. You can make an argument. I'm not saying it's true, but you can make an argument that JSN is, not that far off from the 101. I've seen people trade the 102 and the 103 for JSN. Now, Ashton Jinty goes mid-second in a startup. JSN goes mid-third in a startup, Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking at your team now.
This is too high of a price to pay, in my opinion.
If you send away JJ McCarthy and Brock Purdy, you're not going to have a QB2. So
3.
That's it.
Oh, wait. You're right, actually.
You have Joe Burrow, JJ, and Brock Purdy. You send away JJ and Brock. What's the point of that for the 101 if this is a 2 QB league? I get if it's 1 QB, maybe you inputted it the wrong way when you're getting this clip. Let's just say hypothetically he put it in the wrong way. I think I would lean taking the 101 if this is a 1 quarterback league.
I think if it's 1 quarterback, I think I agree with you. But even like losing JSN, like his running back room is already very strong. He's already got Gibbs, Jacobs, Tracy, and I guess Aaron Jones. Like you lose JSN, your wide receiver 3 becomes Jerry Jeudy. I think you're right. Like I agree with you. If it's a 1 quarterback, probably makes sense. But even then, I'm a little bit skeptical. Well, he would have Drake May as his quarterback too, right? But he wouldn't have a quarterback 3. And in a super flex league, we want that quarterback 3. We love Drake May. But
I didn't pick up Drake May. I think I might be okay with it even with Drake May. Let me just see the waiver wire. I mean, look, you don't have much. You have Gardner Minshew. He's probably not the starter.
I think this is paying too much. I am maybe too much of a believer in JJ McCarthy. I just struggle to see him failing in that system. So I think this is too much to pay for the 101 personally in a super flex league.
Yeah, JSN is the interesting one.
I'm telling you, I see him go for the 102 and the 103 all the time.
I would say maybe in a Superflex league, replace JJ and try Jerry Jeudy. See what happens as a counter.
JJ or JSN?
JSN, excuse me. Switch JSN for Jerry Jeudy. Because I feel like the main package here for this team should be the quarterbacks. Let me see this guy's team. He doesn't have it linked with...
He does. He's got May Caleb right now.
Where? I don't see it. On my screen, I don't see. What's his name? It's not highlighted.
Rookie Fever, Team 7.
Okay.
He's already got a shit ton of picks.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, just personally for me, I don't like this trade.
Yeah, that's fair.
But if you remove JSN and make it Jerry Jeudy, I can see where you're coming from.
I try that because I feel like the main play should be the quarterbacks unless he's like me saying, look, I'm getting JJ right now and he may not be a starter. Like, that's my biggest concern.
Yeah, and I'm on the side of you might be selling JJ way too low right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a toughie. I lean the 101. It's close though. All right, we haven't heard from Mondo, so we're gonna Mondo. If you see this later, you will be the first team to review on tomorrow's stream. We appreciate you big time, my friend. If you guys are out there and you want your team playbook, it's a fantastic time to get into the queue. I mean, on Thursday night, we plan on doing an entire stream dedicated to these team playbooks, right? Playbook is a customized game plan for your offseason. really just helping you know what to do with your team. And if you become an annual member with the promo code LAND on the Flock site, Mother Flocker member, or you can get your team playbook by going to the Flock store. Just choose a live tier if you want it done live. That link is in the pinned comment of the chat. It's also in the description of the video as well. So that's how you guys can get your team reviewed. Hap and Clifford, still waiting to hear back from you guys. If we don't hear back by tomorrow, we'll probably just do our best without the information we need. For Cliff, we just need to make sure he wants it offline. For Hap, we don't have a sleeper ID. So if we don't hear back from tomorrow, we'll do our best with what information we have. But that is it for today, guys. Appreciate y'all big time. And I mean, is there anything that you want to say before we close this off?
Yeah, just appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the support. We'll see you mañana.
All right. All love, guys. See you then.
Love.